By the artificial lake at midnight, Cheng Zhuo, a junior college student, slipped off her last canvas shoe. Crushed by the weight of her private college tuition and trapped in lies about a fabricated boyfriend, her name word, Zhuo, meaning thriving, became a cruel irony. As her toes grazed the icy water, a fishing line sliced through the air. Zhou Shun, a stranger night fishing nearby, calmly assembled his telescopic rod. "Want to watch?" he asked casually, unraveling her meticulously crafted façade. She who wore double socks to fake 158 centimeters, who invented an elite lover to impress Porsche-owning roommates, now trembled when he asked her name. "Cheng Zhuo," she choked. "It be the only real thing about me." When the glowing float interrupted her countdown to death, she realized the moon's reflection wasn't what shattered on the lake. It was the mask she'd worn for 20 years. Chapter 1. Cheng Zhuo would never forget that day. She had decided to die, drowning herself in the lake. This was the final, optimal choice she'd arrived at after listing and comparing several suicide methods in her notebook. She was only a junior in college, living in the dorms, and she didn't want to disturb anyone. She didn't leave a suicide note, didn't give her family or friends any warning. When a person is truly desperate, they can't make a sound. If someone is still talking, still crying out, it means they think there's still hope, still clinging to the illusion that the world might hold them back. But she felt hopeless. Cheng Zhuo attended a private undergraduate university, where the annual tuition was over 20,000 yuan. Her family was average, a single-parent household. Her life consisted of only her slightly lame father, a gatekeeper at a small factory. For holiday meals, it was just the two of them at the table. Cheng Zhuo didn't want to use the phrase dependent on each other for survival, because her relationship with her father wasn't good. After high school, she'd lived at school, and sometimes during vacations, they wouldn't exchange a single word all day. Her name was given by her mother, meaning she hoped she would grow up strong and healthy. But the rain and sunlight of maternal love had abruptly vanished during her childhood. It was an ordinary day, and also a day of collapse. No one knew where her mother had gone. Cheng Zhuo was short. During the freshman physical exam, she secretly wore 2 pairs of socks, and the instrument displayed 158 cm. She laughed inwardly. Cheng Zhuo couldn't deny her vanity, even her hypocrisy. After coming to the provincial capital for university, her environment broadened. She realized she was no longer in that closed loop, that small town and small county where everyone knew each other. The surrounding ecosystem was like a dense forest, dazzling. 2 of her roommates were locals, conversing in their dialect as if it were a label, a secret code for their kind. The other girl was from Suzhou. Her father drove a Panamera. She suddenly felt grateful that her father was lame and had limited mobility. He wouldn't suddenly show up at school on a whim, which she would find embarrassing. Cheng Zhuo's powers of observation, adaptability, and imitation were all very strong. In junior high, to fit in with the cool kids, she quickly learned to smoke, even perfectly replicating the way they held and tapped their cigarettes. But in high school, the well-behaved girls were more popular, so Cheng Zhuo quickly quit all her bad habits. Otherwise, she might not even have made it to junior college. Now, she was the class monitor, capable of organizing work in an orderly manner, getting along with many people in her class, and holding an indispensable, high-status position in the dorm. Years of social interaction had allowed her to constantly advance, evolving from a people-pleaser to a leader. The 3 spoiled young ladies thought she knew everything, could do everything, and was always right, like a more advanced, more erudite young lady. They surrounded her, almost dependent on her. But Cheng Zhuo knew it was all fake. She was tired, more tired every day, overwhelmed. So she wanted to escape, and chose the method that made her feel the most guilty. She left no words because she felt ashamed, but she couldn't help it, couldn't change it. The high wall had been built and was slowly tilting. She felt herself being squeezed every day, gradually flattened, or perhaps about to burst. She wasn't resilient at all. That day was a weekend. Cheng Zhuo left early in the morning, lying that her long-distance boyfriend was coming to see her. But in reality, she wandered aimlessly around campus. So as midnight approached, her roommates didn't wonder why she hadn't returned. Obviously, this childhood sweetheart boyfriend was also a fictional character she'd fabricated. He was gentle, ambitious, from a wealthy family, attended a prestigious 985 university. She described him vividly, and all her roommates had been captivated by their love story, believing it without a doubt. Cheng was stopped by the artificial lake, bent down to take off her shoes. The lake's surface below the steps looked cold, the lights dim, the moon swaying in the ripples, lifeless. Cheng Zhuo started to cry, her breathing heavy and suppressed. Just as she was about to take off her left shoe, someone spoke behind her. "Excuse me." Cheng Zhuo turned around, startled. For a moment, it was as if thousands of spotlights were focused on her face, exposing her ugly performance. Her head trembled uncontrollably. Standing before her was a tall boy, his features unclear, the most striking thing being the white box he held in his hand. He didn't move and asked her, "What are you doing here so late?" Cheng Zhuo wiped her wet face and quickly composed herself, calmly asking back, "What are you doing here?" The boy replied, "Night fishing." "You," Cheng Zhuo said, "couldn't sleep, came out for a walk." The boy's eyelids drooped slightly, glancing at her feet. "Do you need to take off your shoes for a walk?" Cheng Zhuo was speechless for a second. "Broke up with my boyfriend." Lies always came easily to her. The corners of the boy's lips curved slightly. "Can't handle it." Cheng Zhuo changed the subject. "Is fishing allowed here?" The boy pointed to a blue sign not far away. "No. That's why I came at this hour." Cheng Zhuo almost laughed. The boy said, "You might have to make some room for me today." "Okay." Cheng Zhuo bent down, slipped on her canvas shoes, and took 2 steps back. The boy took off his backpack and opened the fishing box. His equipment was professional and complete. The fishing rod was telescopic. After carefully arranging the fishing line, it was skillfully straightened by its user, cast, the silver line falling into the water. He did all of this with ease, as if no one else was there. Cheng Zhuo stood there watching him. For 2 minutes, neither of them spoke. The lake, the trees, the shadows, all silent. The boy turned his face, and Cheng Zhuo saw his features clearly. Rather delicate, not aggressive, but his jawline, once he turned back, was very defined, giving him an air of arrogance. He asked, "Aren't you going back?" Cheng Zhuo said, "Can I watch for a while longer?" The boy nodded, "Sure." He gestured towards the fishing box on the ground. "There's a folding chair inside. You can sit and watch if you're tired of standing." Cheng Zhuo didn't take it, still standing beside him. She asked, "What do you do with the fish you catch?" The boy said, "Release them." Cheng Zhuo raised an eyebrow. "Just enjoy the process?" The boy said, "The process is also the reward." Cheng Zhuo asked again, "Do you ever not catch anything?" The boy said, "Often." "What does fishing feel like?" "Unpredictable. Like Forrest Gump and a box of chocolates." "A little, I guess." He wasn't entirely sure. Cheng Zhuo's lips curved slightly. "Are you a student at our university?" The boy hummed in affirmation. "Do you often come here to fish at this hour?" "I rarely come, and this is the first time I've seen anyone here at this hour." Cheng Zhuo asked her last question. "What's your name?" The boy looked at the lake. "Zhou Shun." "Shun," as in the fleeting moment. "Cheng Zhuo, really? I've never met anyone with that character for a name." "Of course," the boy nodded. "What about you?" Cheng Zhuo said, "My name is Cheng Zhuo." Zhu, as in thriving and growing. She pursed her lips. "That's the only thing about me that's real." Chapter 2. One sentence silenced them both. For almost 15 seconds, Zhou Shun stared at her intently. His gaze wasn't scrutinizing, nor was it insightful, just calm. Finally, he frowned slightly. "What do you mean?" Cheng Zhuo didn't understand. "What do you mean? What do I mean?" Zhou Shun repeated her previous statement. "Only your name is real." Cheng Zhuo nodded. "Yes," Zhou Shun said, "but you're standing right here." Cheng Zhuo nodded again. "Yes," maintaining a tangible bewilderment that added a touch of humanity to his otherwise smooth features. Zhou Shun said, "You can't be fake." Cheng Zhuo smiled faintly. "You mean I'm not a ghost?" Zhou Shun said, "Right, you're a living person." Cheng Zhuo said, Maybe I am one. Oh, now I'm scared, Zhou Shun said calmly, his hand holding the fishing rod still steady. Cheng Zhuo smiled again. Chatting with strangers was undeniably a stress reliever. Zhou Shun stayed by the lake for over an hour. He had an alarm set on his phone. At 1:30, the ringtone went off, and the young man methodically packed up his fishing gear. He bid her farewell casually. I'm leaving. You're free to do as you please. Cheng Zhuo, who had already yawned 3 times while squatting, quickly stood up as he prepared to leave. Unfortunately, she still had to look up at him. He didn't have a face of a tall person. His eyelids were thin, his eyebrows slender and long, hidden beneath equally thin and wispy bangs. He was effortlessly handsome, but his eyes held power, depth, and spoke volumes. They were saying goodbye. Then he said it aloud. Goodbye. Cheng Zhuo glanced upwards. The main road and the lake were divided by a row of willows. During the day, a light mist shrouded the surroundings, but at night, they formed a fence, enclosing the area like a peach blossom spring. This gave Cheng Zhuo a strange feeling. She felt that once Zhou Shun reached the shore, he would go to another world, and they would never meet again. So she didn't say goodbye immediately. Instead, she asked, "Can I add you on WeChat?" The young man in front of her barely hesitated, only asking, "Will you actually message me?" Cheng Zhuo paused. Probably. Zhou Shun was very blunt. Then there's no need to add me. Cheng Zhuo changed to a definitive statement. Of course I will. Only then did Zhou Shun take out his phone from his hoodie pocket with one hand, bring up his QR code, and let her scan it. His profile picture was of a shimmering, golden lake surface. His username was blank. Cheng Zhuo rarely saw boys use this kind of profile picture. Did you take that picture? She asked. Zhou Shun replied, No, it's from the internet. What? Cheng Zhuo said, It's not the kind of picture guys around here usually use. Zhou Shun said, This kind of picture attracts wealth. Cheng Zhuo looked up, quickly glancing at him. You seem very materialistic. Zhou Shun didn't respond to that, only urging, Are you done? Be patient, Cheng Zhuo said, quickly sending the friend request. Okay, Milky Bunny sauce is me. Zhou Shun's expression became complicated. Cheng Zhuo looked at him. I know what you're about to say. Zhou Shun said. I kind of regret this now. Cheng Zhuo. Regret adding me on WeChat? Zhou Shun nodded. Cheng Zhuo asked, Because of my username? Zhou Shun said. Because you said that username out loud without a shred of shame. Cheng Zhuo smiled knowingly. But I said, everything about me is fake except my name, including my username. Zhou Shun was unconvinced. If you didn't say anything, no one would suspect. Cheng Zhuo was taken aback. Are you complimenting me or insulting me? Zhou Shun. Depends on how you interpret it. Cheng Zhuo suddenly didn't want to die anymore, because she promised Zhou Shun she would message him. This didn't mean that life and death were a trivial matter to her, but the thought of suicide was temporarily suppressed by an external force. She didn't want to carelessly categorize this change in emotion as escaping death or turning a corner. These words were too fortunate and positive. The pressure was still there. Zhou Shun had randomly pulled out one straw, but another one could be inserted at any time, crushing her. At around 8 in the morning, she returned to her dorm and fell asleep. She woke up in the afternoon. Cheng Zhuo got out of bed and went to the bathroom. Her roommates all glanced at her teasingly, and one of them joked, Must have been tired last night. See, another straw. It was a problem she created herself, but it became the world's problem. A fraudster posing as a victim. She felt selfish and ashamed. She loathed herself. Suddenly, Cheng Zhuo regretted deeply not jumping into the lake after Zhou Shun left. Freedom had been so close. She couldn't help but give a shameful smile, sat down at her desk, turned on her computer, and fulfilled her promise, sending Zhou Shun her first message. Milky Bunny sauce. Do you ever get anxious? Blank person, his moments was also blank, replied quickly. Sometimes. Cheng Zhuo asked, I can't help but feel anxious. Zhou Shun. Why are you anxious? Cheng Zhuo. Because I'm a phony. Zhou Shun. Everyone is phony to some degree. Cheng Zhuo said, Are you a phony? Zhou Shun said, Yes. Cheng Zhuo was a little surprised because his way of expressing himself seemed quite straightforward and trustworthy. I don't think you're a phony. Zhou Shun. See, you don't think I'm phony, so others probably won't think you are either. A moment of breakdown flashed through Cheng Zhuo's heart, like a razor blade quickly slicing across her skin, blood welling up continuously. The main thing is, it's only temporary. My real abilities don't match the image I've created and presented. I live every day in fear of being exposed. I'm sick of maintaining this image. I'm exhausted. Did you see my moments? Zhou Shun said, I did. Cheng Zhuo, it's all fake. Zhou Shun, you're very real in the sense that humanity's essence is a repeater. Cheng Zhuo was speechless. Cheng Zhuo, then what should I say? What else could she say? Zhou Shun, for example. How specifically is your fakeness manifested? Cheng Zhuo replied, in many ways. She became wary. Are we close enough to talk about this? Zhou Shun didn't pursue the question. Do you like your current username? Cheng Zhuo said, no, but I'm used to it. My whole dorm has these cutesy usernames, and a lot of guys like that kind of thing. Zhou Shun said, you can change it. Cheng Zhuo guessed, I think you just don't want to see that name. Zhou Shun, I've already changed your contact name. It doesn't affect me much. Cheng Zhuo was curious. What did you change it to? She didn't expect Zhou Shun to be so petty. He said, are we close enough to talk about this? Cheng Zhuo. What should I change it to? Give me a suggestion. Zhou Shun, you don't need to ask me. Change it to whatever you want. Cheng Zhuo thought for a moment. Spicy rabbit head. Silence hung in the chat box for a moment. Zhou Shun, let's go out for spicy rabbit head tonight. Chapter 3. At 5:30 p.m., Cheng Zhuo arrived punctually for their meeting. The west gate of the school had only one Sichuan restaurant. The ratings were average, the taste was average, but its location was excellent, so it never lacked customers. When she saw Zhou Shun, he had already changed his clothes. He wore a khaki hoodie and black trousers. After the beginning of spring, it got dark later than usual, so his features appeared more distinct than at night, especially his skin tone. It was exaggeratedly white, not simply cool white, warm white, or olive. It was a whiteness uninfluenced by the surroundings, like a human fluorescent light, exceptionally eye-catching. You're so white, Cheng Zhuo couldn't help but say after they met. Zhou Shun seemed accustomed to such exclamations. His eyes were calm, and he didn't utter a word. After they sat down in the restaurant, Cheng Zhuo immediately noticed the boy's hand as he took the menu. Narrow, snow white. Even his knuckles were pink, yet the bones were distinct, without any androgynous ambiguity. Then, the boy used his other hand to beckon the waiter. He began to order a small portion of spicy rabbit head. After that, nothing more. The waiter looked at Zhou Shun, then at Cheng Zhuo, and reminded, just one dish? A small portion is 2 rabbit heads. Zhou Shun nodded. Just this. The waiter turned to Cheng Zhuo for confirmation. Cheng Zhuo said, just this. With the waiter gone, Zhou Shun looked directly at Cheng Zhuo, letting her stare. He seemed unafraid of any gaze. Cheng Zhuo asked, is your self-discipline very strict? Zhou Shun said, what? Cheng Zhuo asked. No sugar, sunscreen every day, body lotion, never stay up late. Zhou Shun took a sip of water. Who did you see last night, my doppelganger? That's true. Cheng Zhuo lowered her head and picked up her own water glass. She suddenly became alert. We agreed. I only came because you were treating. Zhou Shun nodded. Cheng Zhuo put down her glass. But I didn't expect treating me to spicy rabbit head to literally mean just spicy rabbit head. Zhou Shun said, you can order whatever else you want, but you have to pay for it yourself. Cheng Zhuo said, no need, I just didn't expect you to be so frugal. Zhou Shun said, spend within your means. Cheng Zhuo was speechless. How much is a portion of rabbit head? Zhou Shun casually lifted the menu. 1 rabbit head is 15, 2 are 30. Cheng Zhuo couldn't help but raise her voice a little. It's only 30. Zhou Shun's tone was calm. Since it's only 30, why ask someone else to pay? Cheng Zhuo was surprised by his twisted logic. Hello, you asked me out. Zhou Shun said. You could have refused. I wouldn't have forced you. Cheng Zhuo bit her lower lip. Silent for a few seconds, she said, the little daisies on your shoes are reselling for 4 or 5,000. What's 30 to you? Zhou Shun said. Because of a pair of shoes, you seem to know me very well. Cheng Zhuo's expression calmed down. Now I have a new understanding. The boy's monolids lifted calmly. Stingy. Cheng Zhuo said, you're annoying. Annoying from head to toe. Zhou Shun gave a bland "oh." Cheng Zhuo called the waiter and ordered 6 more dishes, all substantial. Her stomach burned from the spice, her mouth numb. Yet she continued to eat with a masochistic gusto. Zhou Shun had long finished his rabbit head and just sat there watching her. After a while, he left his seat and didn't come back. Cheng Zhuo went to the cashier to pay. The owner looked up in surprise. The boy you were eating with already paid. The one with very fair skin. Hearing this, Cheng Zhuo slung her canvas bag over her shoulder and stormed out the door, fuming. She guessed Zhou Shun was waiting for her outside, waiting to humiliate her. With people coming and going at the intersection, it wasn't convenient for her to lash out. Her expression remained calm. How much was it? I'll give it to you now. Zhou Shun ignored this, only asking, how much debt do you have? Cheng Zhuo looked at him in surprise. Zhou Shun affirmed, I guessed right. Cheng Zhuo's tone was nonchalant. I only owe you 1 meal. Zhou Shun seemed not to hear her. I can lend you money. Cheng Zhuo laughed. Are you an actor? What role are you playing today? Savior or miser? Give me a straight answer. Zhou Shun spoke as if reciting a contract. I don't charge interest, but there's a deadline. Cheng Zhuo was incredulous. Do you know what you're saying? Zhou Shun said. Clearly, even 15 yuan puts you under a lot of pressure. Cheng Zhuo's head suddenly felt hot, her eyes burning red. She almost glared at him, emotions churning violently within her. It turned out that this impulsive dinner was a probe meant to completely tear down her usual disguise. Zhou Shun looked up at the school gate in the twilight. Think about it. I'll walk you back to your dorm. Cheng Zhuo was heavily in debt to maintain her image, to fit in. Huabei, Baijiao, Yuqianhua, and some lesser-known campus loan apps. Her Panamera roommate had a monthly allowance of 6 to 8,000, with extra bonuses during holidays or after passing the CET-4 or CET-6 exams. The others weren't much different. And her father? He gave her 30,000 yuan every Chinese New Year. After deducting tuition fees, averaged out, her monthly disposable income was less than 1,000. He said, I've basically given you everything I earn. How much can a gatekeeper make? She was grateful, also resentful, ultimately helpless. It wasn't that she hadn't thought about part-time jobs, but opportunities were scarce. Every weekend, her friends were more interested in eating, drinking, and having fun, shopping, and singing. She knew that what was built on material possessions was ultimately an empty shell, but without a pass, she would be removed from the group like an annoying fishbone, lost in the vast ocean with nowhere to go. There's no solo dance without the group dance. Cheng Zhuo attributed this to fate, a bad, one wrong step leads to another destiny and environment. Back in the dorm, after much thought, she took the initiative to message Zhou Shun for the second time. Not everyone is born with a silver spoon like you. Even if he seemed to want to help her, his condescending manner was annoying. Zhou Shun said, Made up your mind? Cheng Zhuo said no. Zhou Shun, if it's just to vent and resent the rich, then let's talk later. Cheng Zhuo's fingers paused on the screen, puzzled. Why help me? Zhou Shun said, there aren't that many whys. Cheng Zhuo said, I don't want to jump from one fire pit into another. She guessed, did you see me wanting to commit suicide and pity me? I won't have to sleep with you, will I? Zhou Shun. He was speechless for the first time. So Cheng Zhuo also fell silent. Zhou Shun didn't let the awkward atmosphere linger, going straight to the point. How much exactly? Cheng Zhuo stated a number. Zhou Shun. People who borrow money often don't tell the truth out of guilt or fear of rejection, saying only an amount they think the other person can accept, when in reality, it's far more than that. Do you want to solve it all at once? Or keep wandering around the lake and the rooftop? Cheng Zhuo confessed truthfully. She had calculated precisely the exact weight of this despair. Zhou Shun, I underestimated you. Cheng Zhuo blushed. She put on a brave face. Aren't you afraid I'll default? Zhou Shun, I'll draft a contract. Zhou Shun, I'll bring the contract to you tomorrow. Of course, I have some conditions, but there won't be any of those actions you're overthinking. I'll list the requirements in tomorrow's contract. If you agree, you sign it. But remember, I'm lending you money. After replying, Cheng Zhuo took her hands off the keyboard and stared blankly at the table until the screensaver dimmed, everything feeling like a dream. Zhou Shun wasn't just pulling out a single straw. For no apparent reason, he seemed to want to remove a whole cart of straw. Soon, two roommates entered playfully arm in arm. Cheng Zhuo came back to her senses and turned to smile at them. The Panamera roommate, in fact, her name was Luan King, stopped as she passed Cheng Zhuo's chair and said, "Are you hiding something from us?" Cheng Zhuo's breath quickened slightly, from fear, from confusion. But quickly, she put on that muscle memory smile and turned back. "What?" The other roommate, Song Ying, winked and gossiped. "We just went to buy food and saw you walking with a handsome guy. Didn't want to interrupt you." Cheng Zhuo casually lied. "I met him a couple of times during the university festival activities and just happened to run into him again today. I don't even know which department he's in. Besides, he's not that handsome." She emphasized the word that. "Oh, people with boyfriends are different. No male beauty can catch your eye anymore, right?" Luan King returned to her seat and reevaluated. "He's not particularly handsome, but he looks expensive." "What kind of description is that?" Song Ying burst out laughing. Cheng Zhuo agreed. Zhou Shun did look expensive. That kind of expensive wasn't fragile, delicate, or priceless, but rather substantial, unique, and enduring. Chapter 4. When did it begin? Cheng Zhuo couldn't quite recall. Perhaps it was the first day of freshman year, witnessing Luan King, the second to arrive in the dorm, casually pull a bottle of SK2 facial treatment essence from her makeup bag. Cheng Zhuo knew the brand, what it represented, and its price. Her mind buzzed, then filled with shame. Quietly, she gathered her own skincare set, worth barely over 100 yuan in total, and fled the dorm. When she returned, the other two roommates had arrived. Seeing her arms laden with bags, they asked, "Did you go shopping?" Cheng Zhuo nodded, offering a friendly smile. "Have you had dinner yet? Shall we go explore the cafeteria?" My treat. Of the entire dorm, she enjoyed observing Luan King the most, treating her as a role model, but not for imitation, which could easily become a caricature. She incorporated her own understanding, taking things a step further. Luan King was straightforward and coquettish, but Cheng Zhuo spoke with tact and finesse, skilled at winning people over. Consequently, their dorm room was always bustling with visitors, with her at the center of their little clique. She could list ingredients off the top of her head, was familiar with every brand, knew which websites had the latest fan sub content, and always had the quickest answers. Her relationship advice was consistently reliable, her insights sharp, with precise analyses and evaluations of most things, helping them avoid many pitfalls. At the end of each semester, she generously shared her meticulously organized study notes. Cheng Zhuo had two phones, one for daily use and one kept secret. The latter represented her non-existent perfect boyfriend. When she shared fabricated chat logs or transfer screenshots in the dorm group chat or on her moments, the wave of envy always brought her genuine satisfaction. Of course, he also sent her various gifts. No one suspected a thing, because Cheng Zhuo seemed deserving of such affection. Her academic performance and self-discipline were exceptional. She had been selected as one of the top 10 campus singers and was now the Minister of Publicity for the student union. She had no shortage of admirers. She ran every morning, and every night she dedicated an hour to crunches, glute bridges, and burpees. Running was the most stress-relieving activity. As she ran against the wind, only the sound of the wind and her own panting filled her ears, allowing her to hide within them, gritting her teeth and whimpering, releasing her pent-up emotions. She even began to believe that she truly was a genuine, flawless by Fume, rich, beautiful, and white-skinned. On a Sunday afternoon, the cafeteria was nearly empty. Cheng Zhuo and Zhou Shun sat at a small table in the corner, discussing a contract. The planned signing turned into a confession. Cheng Zhuo spoke until tears streamed down her face, while Zhou Shun offered only a single summarizing comment. So you're saying, even you believe it yourself? Cheng Zhuo took the tissue he offered and blew her nose. Sometimes I do. I feel like I've detached from my true self. I really don't want to go back to the way things were. I prefer this seemingly perfect version of myself. Zhou Shun pushed the entire pack of tissues toward her. Have you ever considered that this version of you is you? Your biggest problem is just your debt. Cheng Zhuo shook her head. No, I feel like a hollow stem vegetable. It looks full, but in reality, it snaps with the slightest pressure. Zhou Shun said, you're misusing your abilities. You haven't thought about turning them into something tangible, only using them for show. He spoke bluntly. Do you enjoy making a spectacle of yourself so much? Cheng Zhuo retorted. How am I making a spectacle of myself? Zhou Shun. Isn't everything you do to satisfy your need for an audience? Cheng Zhuo fell silent, then turned to the matter at hand. Tell me, what do you need me to do? Zhou Shun calmly dropped the bombshell. Work for me. In my freshman year, I could earn 500,000 yuan a month. Now it's far more than that. Cheng Zhuo's eyes widened, then narrowed with suspicion. Let me be clear, I won't help you with Bitcoin. It's not a question of whether I can, but whether it's legal. Zhou Shun smiled faintly. You certainly know a lot, and you're quick-witted. His faint smile carried a very businesslike appraisal, somewhat unnerving. Cheng Zhuo got goosebumps. Why me? Zhou Shun. Because I have leverage over you. Cheng Zhuo. You're excessively pragmatic. Zhou Shun. What else would I be? Of course, I've read the pieces you wrote for the school's official account. Your writing style is quite interesting. He turned slightly, pulling a contract from the inner pocket of his laptop bag and handing it to her. Take a look. Cheng Zhuo read through it word by word, a chill gradually creeping up her spine. It was less a loan agreement and more a labor contract, its clauses clear and meticulous. After Cheng Zhuo had reviewed it a second time, Zhou Shun asked, well, Cheng Zhuo looked up. Did you write this contract yourself? Zhou Shun. There's no template this good online. Cheng Zhuo didn't hesitate for long. I agree. Zhou Shun asked. Nothing else you want to ask? Cheng Zhuo said. One of the job responsibilities mentioned in the contract is writing soft articles for a public account. Can I see your account? Zhou Shun picked up his phone from the table and showed her the back end of his public account. This is the number of followers on my account. Cheng Zhuo received a second shock after the 500,000 yuan monthly income revelation. 760,000? Zhou Shun. He explained his work. This is just one of my accounts. Besides this, I have accounts on Weibo, Bilibili, Douyin, and that interactive sharing platform you're all familiar with. I mainly collaborate with electronics companies, like the phone you're holding right now. The content format varies. Soft articles, short videos, long-form video vlogs, everything. I'm struggling to manage it all on my own and desperately need an assistant. So even he struggled. He seemed so impervious to everything. Cheng Zhuo smiled at this thought, then quickly composed herself. Her new boss, however, didn't seem to mind. After signing their names, they each took a copy. Zhou Shun said he had other matters to attend to and didn't linger, only mentioning that he would send her a PowerPoint presentation with a detailed description of the job responsibilities later. As they walked out of the cafeteria, Zhou Shun reminded her again, don't overspend anymore. If you have urgent financial needs, I can provide an advance on your salary, which will, of course, increase your workload accordingly. Cheng Zhuo felt a flicker of warmth. Okay. The young man stopped talking, lifted the door curtain, and gestured for her to go first. The noise and sunlight rushed in together. Cheng Zhuo looked outside, then suddenly said, since your work is mainly online, can we minimize our personal interactions? Zhou Shun furrowed his brow in confusion. Cheng Zhuo said, I have a boyfriend. Zhou Shun, oh, Cheng Zhuo fake. He doesn't exist, but outwardly, we're very much in love. One of my roommates saw me with you yesterday. I'm afraid that if other acquaintances see us, it's best to avoid any suspicion. Zhou Shun. You can break up with him. Cheng Zhuo. Question mark. Zhou Shun. There's no need to keep a partner who's more harmful than beneficial. Cheng Zhuo laughed, remembering her excuse from last night. Are you in the student union? I've never done anything for the student union. Zhou Shun gave an absurd laugh, as if to say, that place wasn't worthy of him. Cheng Zhuo, you could join for fun. I can recommend you. It's quite interesting. You can meet a lot of people, many like me. And I lied yesterday, saying I met you at a student union event. Now that story doesn't hold water. Zhou Shun quietly looked at her for 2 seconds. No need. Chapter 5. Over the next 2 days, Cheng Zhuo familiarized herself with her job responsibilities. Zhou Shun had sent her a 60-page PowerPoint, detailed yet easy to understand. In her free time, she repeatedly watched the content on Zhou Shun's various accounts. It was hard not to admire him. Zhou Shun only released a video every 2 or 3 months, but the final product was comparable to the work of a 10-person team. From concept to execution, to filming and editing, his work was neither lowbrow nor pandering, yet his audience transcended age and gender. She had never been interested in electronics before. Body shaping, beauty, and fashion were her main focus. But Zhou Shun's content somehow made people watch with a smile, unknowingly drawn in. He possessed extensive professional knowledge, practical skills, and creative talent. This wasn't something achievable overnight. Talent and hard work, neither could be lacking. Of course, there was also luck. His first video was a hit, released over 2 years ago in mid-September, with over 1 million views. He had been consistently producing content ever since. His latest video, released at the beginning of January, had reached tens of millions of views. A phenomenal blogger in the tech field, with near-perfect reviews across all platforms. Cheng Zhuo felt a sense of being crushed. Yes, crushed. She tried her best to avoid appearing ordinary, but Zhou Shun made everything look effortless. He was 1 in 1 million, no, maybe 1 in 10 million. Amidst this imbalance, she received her first work assignment from Zhou Shun. Write a soft article introducing the phone she was currently using. Cheng Zhuo pointed out, you already released a video about this phone last September. Do we need another article? Zhou Shun replied, did you have this many objections when you worked for free for the student union? Cheng Zhuo was speechless. Zhou Shun shifted his focus. You remember every one of my videos? Cheng Zhuo, I've gone through them all, including those of other similar YouTubers and bloggers. He offered rare praise, not bad, then added, but once isn't enough. Cheng Zhuo, I'll watch them a few more times. She had watched them far more than a few times already. These past few days, she'd been watching them whenever she had the chance, repeatedly scrutinizing them as if trying to brand them onto herself. Because it was unbelievable, because of jealousy, she wanted to find flaws in them. Zhou Shun seemed to never speak unnecessarily, stating only specific requirements. You have free reign with the content, but don't plagiarize the perspective of my videos. It must be your own experience. Cheng Zhuo, okay. Zhou Shun, this is just a trial run to see your basic writing skills, not for publication. Cheng Zhuo, is there a word count requirement? Zhou Shun, no. Also, create your own public account and send me the preview link. Don't send me a doc file. I won't open it. Cheng Zhuo almost rolled her eyes. Okay. Zhou Shun, get it to me by next Monday. Cheng Zhuo glanced at the bottom right corner of the screen. I can submit it on Saturday. The chat window fell silent for a few seconds. Zhou Shun, okay. They had no further contact after that. Cheng Zhuo divided Thursday to Saturday into 3 parts. The first day was spent compiling and summarizing her own user experience, as well as collecting online reviews and feedback on the same phone model. The second day, she outlined key points, drafted an outline, analyzed the phone's strengths and weaknesses, and searched for suitable product images and emojis. The third day, she formally wrote the article, checking for errors and omissions. After methodically polishing and revising, she finished creating the public account preview at 8 p.m. and sent the final product to Zhou Shun. Cheng Zhuo felt she deserved a 100 out of 100. She hadn't been this meticulous and dedicated, even when writing for the student union and department's official accounts. After all, she was indebted to him. The interest-bearing loan was resolved, but this didn't mean she was free and clear. Her interest-free creditor was still lurking in the shadows, observing. She had to produce something to prove her worth. Cheng Zhuo anxiously picked at her fingers at her desk for half an hour, receiving no reply. Finally, she couldn't stand it anymore. "I'm going for a run, so I might not be able to reply to you right away." Zhou Shun finally gave her feedback. "I've read it." Cheng Zhuo, "How is it?" Zhou Shun, "Can we talk on the phone?" Cheng Zhuo, "Okay." Pretending to go for a run, Cheng Zhuo quickly walked out of the dormitory building. Last week at this time, the campus night was as thick as asphalt, suffocatingly heavy. But tonight, it felt unusually light. The crabapple blossoms along the road were in full bloom, their branches swaying. Cheng Zhuo opened WeChat and initiated a voice call. "Hello, have you eaten yet?" "Hello." Zhou Shun clearly avoided small talk, getting straight to the point. "I've read what you wrote. It's not very interesting." Cheng Zhuo's mouth dropped open slightly in surprise. It was extremely interesting, wasn't it? She had imitated his style and incorporated her own experience. Anyone who read it would have a clear and comprehensive understanding of the product. As she started to argue, Zhou Shun interrupted with several examples, leaving her stunned. He compared her writing to his own scripts and criticized her wording. Cheng Zhuo didn't like this unequal comparison, nor did she like having her efforts belittled. She started to speak recklessly. "Your public account only has 3 articles, but you already have over 70,000 followers. What more do you want?" Heaven's favorite. Zhou Shun seemed not to understand her meaning at all. "That's why the public account is my weakness," Cheng Zhuo said, "but with your current traffic and reputation, you could fart and people would think it smells good, okay?" Zhou Shun paused for a moment. "Let's talk again when you could speak properly." He hung up. Cheng Zhuo stopped at the edge of the track, watching the students scattered like stars, moving, some fast, some slow. She took a deep breath, calmed down for a while, and called Zhou Shun again. He was clearly not the type to give the silent treatment, answering almost instantly, but remaining silent. "Sorry," Cheng Zhuo smoothed her bangs that were fluttering in the wind. "I was a bit emotional just now. I'll rewrite it based on your suggestions." Zhou Shun said, "Focus on revising the points I mentioned. The rest can stay." Cheng Zhuo was taken aback. "So you mean the other parts are not bad?" Zhou Shun, "Yes, I can see you put effort into it." Cheng Zhuo was stunned. After a moment, she forced a laugh. "Are you the type who responds better to tough love?" Zhou Shun said, "You have a strong sense of self-respect." Cheng Zhuo said, "Of course, losing self-respect is no different from being dead." Zhou Shun didn't pick up on this, asking out of the blue, "Are you outside?" Cheng Zhuo looked around. "Yes. How did you know?" Zhou Shun said, "I heard the wind." Cheng Zhuo, "Oh," Zhou Shun said, "How far are you from the West Gate?" Cheng Zhuo looked around. "I'm at the main track field." "That's close," Zhou Shun said calmly. "I haven't eaten yet. There's a tornado potato stand at the West Gate at this hour. Buy me a portion and bring it to me. I'll send you the address on WeChat." Cheng Zhuo, "Is this also part of the job?" Zhou Shun, "I wouldn't trouble you if I could order takeout." Cheng Zhuo, "Do you know about delivery services? We have them on our campus app." Zhou Shun, "No. Are you even a student at our school?" Cheng Zhuo became suspicious, but ultimately succumbed to the power of money, deciding to be a good employee. "Forget it. Which building do you live in? I'll bring it to you." Zhou Shun replied, "I don't live on campus." Cheng Zhuo paused. "Where do you live?" Zhou Shun, "The residential complex by the West Gate." Cheng Zhuo muttered, "I was wondering where you filmed your videos with all that equipment. So you have your own place. How much is the monthly rent there?" she asked again. "I don't know, I bought it." Chapter 6. After hanging up, Cheng Zhuo immediately looked up the housing prices and floor plans in Ximen Residential Complex, then turned off her phone. The address Zhou Shun gave her was 13th building, 13th floor. After exiting the elevator, Cheng Zhuo didn't rush to find the apartment number. A half-open small window at the corner of the hallway caught her attention. She walked towards it involuntarily and saw the scenery on the other side of the school, like another time in space, with golden elevated roads crisscrossing like a spiderweb. A different view belonging to the heights. Cheng Zhuo took a live photo and left. After pressing the doorbell, Cheng Zhuo didn't wait long before the door was opened from the inside. Zhou Shun stood there, wearing a gray short-sleeved t-shirt and flip-flops, as if living in midsummer, but his skin was still as if he had zero contact with the sun in his entire life. Cheng Zhuo thought, "Isn't he cold?" While she observed him, he had already extended a hand, gesturing for her to hand over the takeaway box. Cheng Zhuo blinked. "Can I take a look at where you work?" Zhou Shun said, "It's almost 10 o'clock. Cheng Zhuo said, 10 minutes. Zhou Shun didn't say anything, just made way. Cheng Zhuo smiled gratefully and walked in. Zhou Shun followed behind her and tore open a pair of disposable slippers for her. Cheng Zhuo couldn't describe the room she saw. It was a very straightforward studio, no sofa, no furniture, nothing superfluous. Electronic equipment, books, tripods, white walls, cold and efficient, constituted everything visible. A long desk was placed in the living room, with 3 monitors, 2 laptops, a reading stand, a gimbal, and a DSLR camera. This apartment didn't even have a kitchen. The cabinets had been removed and replaced with a tall, black instrument she couldn't name. Including those extra wall spaces, his private areas seemed to be only the bedroom and bathroom. Other areas were integrated, allowing him to enter a work state at any time. A pure white, silent robot vacuum cleaner was working diligently. Cheng Zhuo subconsciously and politely made way for it. A strange thought arose. She felt it was Zhou Shun's pet, fed daily with some kind of liquid alloy. Cheng Zhuo turned around. "Does the landlord allow you to do this?" Then she immediately corrected herself. "Sorry, I forgot you're the owner." Then she rephrased. "Does the property management allow you to do this?" Because Zhou Shun's apartment completely overturned the floor plan she had just memorized from the real estate app. Zhou Shun nodded. "I kept all the load-bearing walls." Zhou Shun walked past her, pulled a chair, sat down at the reading desk, and opened the box of spicy diced potatoes. Cheng Zhuo felt like he hadn't moved at all, just sat down, and the small ring of lights around the reading stand lit up automatically, the lights soft. Cheng Zhuo followed. "Am I disturbing you?" Zhou Shun glanced at her, briefly, emotionlessly, everything unspoken. Cheng Zhuo smiled. This look, coming from a lower position, could be interpreted as a hint of resentment, which made it somewhat amusing. Zhou Shun asked, "How long are you planning to stand there?" Cheng Zhuo replied, "Who would dare sit without your permission?" Zhou Shun sit. He gestured with his chin towards another empty chair. Cheng Zhuo thanked him and sat down, curious about the working principle of the reading stand. "How does it light up by itself?" Zhou Shun explained, "It's simple. How does the motion sensor night light in your house work?" Cheng Zhuo said, "But they only light up in the middle of the night." Zhou Shun, "If it can work at night, it can work during the day." Cheng Zhuo jokingly elaborated, "Do you work during the day?" Zhou Shun speared a piece of spicy diced potato. "I attend classes during the day." Cheng Zhuo was taken aback. "Are you really a student at our school?" Zhou Shun nodded. Cheng Zhuo asked, "What year?" Zhou Shun ate quickly, his words muffled. "He only resembled a human when eating. Same as you." Cheng Zhuo fell silent, because she didn't want to ask further. The answer would most likely be that he had finished all his courses by his sophomore year, so this gifted genius of the same age could fully devote himself to his interests, making money like a printing press. She was only curious about one thing. "Why did you come to our school?" Zhou Shun's answer was very Chinibu-esque, "Because I'm a disappointed college entrance exam taker." Cheng Zhuo laughed out loud. Zhou Shun looked askance at her. "Is it that funny?" Cheng Zhuo, "It doesn't sound disappointing at all." Zhou Shun said, "Because I didn't treat disappointment as failure." Cheng Zhuo looked around. One college entrance exam doesn't mean anything. You're already at the top of the student pyramid. Many top students aren't as good as you. Zhou Shun said, "Are you here to flatter me?" Cheng Zhuo shook her head. No, pure admiration of the strong, wanting to visit your workspace. After finishing, Cheng Zhuo shut up. Why was she still subtly flattering him? But there was nothing she could do. It seemed to be one of her abilities, which was why she always had an approachable and affable aura. Zhou Shun stopped replying, finishing the rest of the spicy diced potatoes. Cheng Zhuo watched him finish eating, waiting for him to hand the takeaway box back to her, but Zhou Shun didn't. He left the leftovers where they were, slid his chair back to the computer, and started editing videos. Seeing the complex timelines and small windows on his monitor, Cheng Zhuo asked, "Is video editing difficult?" Zhou Shun said, "It's not difficult, but editing a good video is difficult." Cheng Zhuo asked again, "Is it too late for me to learn now?" Zhou Shun looked at her. "It's never too late to learn, but your primary task now is to write your copy smoothly." Cheng Zhuo's eyes lit up. "I know, but how should I learn?" Zhou Shun, "If needed, I can sign you up for a class. The fee will be put on your tab." Cheng Zhuo wasn't discouraged. All right. This was a rare moment of non-superior subordinate heart-to-heart, so Cheng Zhuo decided to foster their relationship and learn more about her new boss. She noticed the coils, circuit boards, and tools everywhere within her site. Why don't you find a male assistant who knows more about electronics? There are probably more guys specializing in that field. Zhou Shun said unabashedly. They tend to be jealous of me. Cheng Zhuo confessed. I'm also very jealous of you. Zhou Shun tapped the mouse, his eyes fixed on the screen. Your jealousy isn't malicious. Some jealousy brings destruction. Some jealousy brings transcendence. You belong to the latter. Cheng Zhuo was stunned for a moment, neither denying nor arguing. Suddenly, as if remembering something, Zhou Shun picked up his phone beside the keyboard and tapped it. A noisy video sound came from the phone, with a clear female voice asking, "Boss, a large portion. How much is it?" The boss replied cheerfully, "Large portion." 10 yuan, the girl laughed again and said, "Okay, I'll scan the code to pay you." Zhou Shun turned to Cheng Zhuo, his gaze unwavering. Cheng Zhuo remained calm. 10 yuan, you saw it. Zhou Shun lowered his head and transferred the money. Do people like you really exist? Cheng Zhuo's eyes curved into a smile, but she didn't answer. Zhou Shun, even if you hadn't filmed this video, I would have given you the money. Cheng Zhuo, one code for one thing, clearly marked price. Just as she finished speaking, the boy's phone suddenly rang. The most primitive and simple radar sound effect, which was also Cheng Zhuo's alarm clock ringtone, startled her. Cheng Zhuo asked in confusion, "Did you set an alarm? What are you going to do at this time? Take a shower? Rest?" Zhou Shun lifted his eyelids, dismissing her. "It's a countdown. 10 minutes are up." Cheng Zhuo, do people like you really exist? Chapter 7. Cheng Zhuo deliberately took the video. The reason was simple. She wanted to find a weakness in Zhou Shun to fight magic with magic. Cheng Zhuo succeeded. She used behavior incomprehensible to ordinary people to provoke a typical reaction from him, and thus concluded that Zhou Shun was, after all, a normal person, not completely invulnerable. Cheng Zhuo chuckled while looking at the chat log. On her way back to school, she noticed the fried potato stall was still open, so she bought a small box. The owner recognized her. "Beautiful girl, you're back again?" Cheng Zhuo replied. "The last one was for a friend." Friend. Of course, that wasn't true. The moment the word left her mouth, other designations flashed through Cheng Zhuo's mind, like opponent, like idol, but the best way to defeat or approach them was to understand them. What kind of flavors did a programmer love? The steaming hot potatoes in her hand would tell her the answer. Back in the dorm, Luan King saw her eating a late-night snack and exclaimed, "I can't believe my eyes." Cheng Zhuo looked at them. "Do you want some?" The wolf-tooth potatoes were delicious, worth another visit. The effect of her understanding was immediate. The next morning, Cheng Zhuo woke up with a large red pimple on her left cheek, throbbing slightly when touched. Looking at her no longer flawless reflection in the mirror, Cheng Zhuo immediately changed her mindset for the day. From heaven has opened its eyes. I've met a benefactor to stay away from Zhou Shun. It will bring misfortune. Sunday was equally fulfilling. She spent the morning painting posters in the student union office and the afternoon studying and revising drafts at the library. Cheng Zhuo planned to take the postgraduate entrance exam and was very good at managing her time. From 1:30 to 3:30, she read professional books. From 3:30 to 5:30, she finished her soft articles. And at 5:40, a new link was shared in her chat with Zhou Shun. She waited in the library until 6 o'clock, but Zhou Shun didn't respond. Cheng Zhuo didn't ask any questions. She closed her laptop, put it back in her bag, and left her seat. Just as she reached the first floor, she caught sight of something in the distance, a long, white fluorescent tube. Sorry, her description carried a bit of subjective gloom. In reality, when her young boss appeared in her field of vision, no one could deny his exceptional presence. He carried nothing, looked at no one, and didn't even glance at the machine while swiping his card. Unpretentious, effortless, casually outstanding. He hadn't seen her at all. Cheng Zhuo was adaptable. She took the initiative to approach him and greet him. Zhou Shun stopped, his expression unchanging, seemingly not surprised to see her here. Cheng Zhuo said, "I've finished revising the draft and sent it to you. Have you seen it?" Zhou Shun replied, "I was just walking." Cheng Zhuo, "You don't look at your phone while walking?" Zhou Shun nodded. "No, I look at the trees outside." Cheng Zhuo guessed, "Because looking at green is good for your eyes?" Zhou Shun replied, "I simply like green." Cheng Zhuo laughed. "Isn't it a little strange for a man to like green?" Zhou Shun said, "In color psychology, green is the most comfortable and relaxing color." "What are you doing in the library?" Cheng Zhuo realized she was always asking questions, but she couldn't help it. Zhou Shun was like a book. After finishing one page, she wanted to turn to the next. Fortunately, he didn't resist this form of conversation. "Looking for a book." "What book?" The moment he answered, Cheng Zhuo regretted pushing the conversation into a dead end. Because he said a string of English words she couldn't understand at all, and it sounded like a foreigner speaking. To continue, she could only choose honesty. "I didn't understand." Zhou Shun frowned slightly. "I don't know how to translate it into specific Chinese at the moment." Cheng Zhuo's lips curved upwards. There were things he didn't know. "Do you often come to the library?" Her competitive spirit was ignited. Zhou Shun shook his head. "Almost never." Cheng Zhuo's enthusiasm instantly deflated. Zhou Shun asked, "Are you busy later?" Cheng Zhuo said, "No." He glanced at the bag in her hand. "Come upstairs with me. I'll read it on your computer." Although Zhou Shun's monolids were cool, they were expressive. A slight lift and drop, and they carried a hint of command. Cheng Zhuo obediently followed him upstairs. Zhou Shun stood in front of the machine, searching for a long time. Cheng Zhuo waited not far from him, boredly tapping her heels. After a while, she walked over and asked if he had found it. Zhou Shun shook his head, displeased. Cheng Zhuo said, "Then you'll have to go to the provincial library." Zhou Shun agreed and turned back downstairs. Cheng Zhuo was stunned for a moment, then chased after him. "Did you forget something?" Zhou Shun stopped in front of the elevator. Cheng Zhuo lifted her bag. "My draft?" Zhou Shun, "We'll take the subway. I'll read it on the way." Cheng Zhuo stared. Zhou Shun's face was calm. "It's spring hours. They close at 9 p.m. We have time." Cheng Zhuo couldn't blink. "You don't understand what I'm surprised about." She was surprised that he didn't let a single minute or second go to waste. Even more surprised that he knew the provincial library's hours so well. "Do you often go to the library?" "Almost never." It turned out that the waters he frequented were broader and richer. A pond versus the ocean. Cheng Zhuo's hair stood on end. It was rush hour, and getting a seat on the subway was a miracle. Cheng Zhuo and Zhou Shun were squeezed together. She carefully maintained a social distance and spoke to him. "You should have taken a taxi." Zhou Shun held onto the handrail with one hand, focused on his phone. After a few seconds, he looked up. "What did you say?" Cheng Zhuo faced away from him. "You should have taken a taxi." Zhou Shun looked around. "You can't see people in a taxi." Cheng Zhuo was puzzled. "Why do you need to see people?" Zhou Shun, "I can see the phones, headphones, and various electronic devices they use." Most people on the subway are the biggest consumers of these products. Cheng Zhuo almost wanted to be sarcastic. Can you relax for a minute? Zhou Shun said. I'm very relaxed right now. Your revised article is 100 times more interesting than before. He chuckled, a low decibel sound accompanied by generous praise, falling from close above. Zhou Shun indeed found the book at the provincial library. It was all in English, with illustrations related to electronics. He wasn't perfect either. He couldn't skim read. He also had to use a dictionary app to scan and translate, and he had to take pictures of difficult passages to study later. Cheng Zhuo admitted that Zhou Shun was very charming, not just because of admiration for strength, but because he knew he was passionate, he worked hard, he was calm, his inner core was firm, he didn't need external validation. Liking the color green was laughable, so what? He said it frankly. What he was always doing was being himself, realizing and overcoming another version of himself. Good, better, best. That's why he could shine so brightly. Cheng Zhuo didn't dare to slack off. While Zhou Shun was looking up information, she also opened her computer and started reading several professional papers she had downloaded last week. During a break, she changed her computer wallpaper to something that looked both comfortable and prosperous. They stayed until the librarian came to remind them that the library was closing. Before shutting down, Zhou Shun noticed her new desktop, a screen full of green leaves with golden sunlight shining through. He rested his arm on the table, pausing there. Cheng Zhuo's expression remained unchanged as she calmly shut down. Zhou Shun said, Cheng Zhuo, you're like some kind of creature. What? A chameleon. Cheng Zhuo turned around. Are you complimenting my adaptability? Possibly. He raised an eyebrow slightly. Thank you. Cheng Zhuo said, I guess I'm green now. She thought Zhou Shun would call her a copycat, a narcissist, but the young man just looked at her for a few seconds, then closed the book in front of him. Really? I hope it takes away your anxiety. Chapter 8. Cheng Zhuo started observing the trees along the road. Walking through the shade was a wonderful feeling. Sunlight poured down like water from a showerhead, flickering on and off, the rhythm of light and shadow diluting much of her restlessness. Her roommate, Song Ying, discovered her new online alias, Mala Rabbithead. During their late-night chat one day, Song Ying suddenly asked about it. Cheng Zhuo offered no excuses, attempted no explanations or justifications, simply saying, "It's getting hot, going for a hot new name." A chain reaction immediately followed. That same night, the other three roommates changed their IDs, all to Sichuan dish names. Their dorm's WeChat group also transformed into Spicy Girls Tea Party. Cheng Zhuo laughed, propped up against her pillow. Why did you all change yours? The initiator of the name change movement, Wan Qing, said, "Don't you think these names are cute?" For almost a week, Cheng Zhuo hadn't seen Zhou Shun. This was normal. Unlike her, he was used to being alone, not a creature who needed to exist within a group. Friday morning second period was a general elective, requiring a move to a larger classroom. Cheng Zhuo walked out, arm in arm with Song Ying. Descending the stairs, she spotted someone walking against the flow of people. Tall and fair-skinned, he stood out. Cheng Zhuo glanced at her ceaselessly chattering roommate, considering whether to greet Zhou Shun. He appeared as always, looking straight ahead. His purpose in looking at the path seemed solely to avoid bumping into people, or rather, to avoid being bumped into. It was understandable if he didn't see her, and perfectly justifiable if she pretended not to see him. Cheng Zhuo quickly made her decision. But Luan Qing recognized him. She tugged on Cheng Zhuo's backpack strap. Cheng Zhuo, isn't it the expensive-looking handsome guy from last time? Cheng Zhuo sighed inwardly, forced a wave. Zhou Shun. The boy stopped. They happened to meet at a corner. Zhou Shun didn't speak, only looked at her. Cheng Zhuo put on a casual air. What a coincidence, seeing you here. Zhou Shun, Cheng Zhuo. Her scalp tingling. Cheng Zhuo asked, "Are you here for class?" Zhou Shun's reply was concise. "The teacher asked for me." The best way to avoid killing the conversation was to end it as quickly as possible. Cheng Zhuo waved with a smile. "Okay, Then I won't bother you. I'm just heading to my lecture. As an afterthought, she introduced, these are my roommates. Hello. Zhou Shun's gaze flickered briefly over everyone. I have something to do. I'll go first. After Zhou Shun left, Cheng Zhuo breathed a sigh of relief. Thankfully, he came and went in a hurry. Otherwise, her reputation as a social butterfly would have suffered a Waterloo today. Wow, he's so... Luan King couldn't find a specific adjective. Cheng Zhuo probed, so what? Aloof. Luan King shook her head, so... Not like a student, but not because he looks old. Luan King's descriptions were always very precise. As expected, it happened. It was hard for girls not to be interested in someone like Zhou Shun. During the break, Luan King asked Cheng Zhuo if she had his contact information. Cheng Zhuo usually wouldn't refuse her roommate's requests, so she said, I do, but I have to ask him. Cheng Zhuo couldn't deny a flicker of discomfort, unrelated to romantic feelings, but a primal sense of danger and infinitely magnified unease. Zhou Shun was her secret and also held her secrets. If he really got together with Luan King, the secrets might become shared information, a wedding gift of love. Her mask would eventually be peeled off by those around her. Suddenly, she regretted it. She should have ignored him. Then she wouldn't be in this passive position, enduring his interactions that didn't even qualify as friendship, and having her roommate be so bold in front of her. Because she could see their relationship wasn't that close, Luan King wasn't afraid to make a move. Cheng Zhuo was annoyed all afternoon, her appetite gone. Back in the dorm, she messaged Zhou Shun. Do you have a girlfriend? Zhou Shun. Cheng Zhuo. My roommate asked me for your contact information. Zhou Shun and Cheng Zhuo. I told her I had to ask you first to make sure you're single. Zhou Shun, I am. Cheng Zhuo's heart sank. Then are you willing? If you are, I'll give her your WeChat. If not, then it's fine. Zhou Shun didn't answer, only asked, do you want me to be willing or unwilling? Cheng Zhuo took a light breath. Up to you. No need to consider my opinion. Zhou Shun said, I wasn't planning to consider your opinion. Just wanted to hear your honest answer. Cheng Zhuo stopped hiding it. I don't want to give it. Zhou Shun, I know. Her shameful thoughts exposed. Cheng Zhuo's face flushed slightly. I'm a little scared, afraid that if you date her, you'll mention me. Men will do anything to woo someone. I'm worried I'll become a joke. Zhou Shun, you can choose not to give it. Cheng Zhuo said, my roommate clearly likes you. If you're willing, and I tell her you don't want to give it, won't I seem mean and petty? Zhou Shun, you live a tiring life. Cheng Zhuo, I know. Zhou Shun, I'm not willing. Go refuse her. Cheng Zhuo, really unwilling? I don't want you to say something insincere for my sake and lose a good opportunity. My roommate is really nice. Zhou Shun, I only make choices that make me comfortable. Cheng Zhuo chuckled, feeling a little choked up. Okay, thanks. Zhou Shun, you're welcome. Naturally, Cheng Zhuo wanted to bare her heart. Actually, I didn't want to greet you today, either. Zhou Shun, then don't. Cheng Zhuo, but my roommate saw you. Zhou Shun, just because she saw me, does that mean you have to greet me? Cheng Zhuo, she knows we know each other. Zhou Shun, you have a boyfriend. Not greeting me is reasonable. Cheng Zhuo realized, oh right. Cheng Zhuo, so you were so cold this morning to avoid suspicion. Zhou Shun, to avoid wasting time. Cheng Zhuo. Cheng Zhuo. Sorry, I'm being a bit emotional right now, overthinking things. That evening, Cheng Zhuo told her roommate directly that Zhou Shun didn't want to date right now. She relayed the message calmly, without any feigned regret or indignation. Luan King groaned and clutched her head, but 10 minutes later, when Cheng Zhuo came out of the shower, Luan King seemed to have completely forgotten about it, gazing dreamily at the male lead in a Korean drama. Song Ing was playing a mobile game. Su Shan was browsing Taobao. The entire dorm was normal. No change she'd worried about. No harm she'd feared. She blew her hair dry, smiling at herself in the mirror. Before going to bed, she messaged Zhou Shun. What I said earlier was a bit much. I shouldn't have said men will do anything to woo someone, and I shouldn't have distrusted you. Zhou Shun, if I were you, what do you think I'd be thinking right now? That day, Cheng Zhuo learned for the first time that someone like Zhou Shun could also curse. He said, "Fuck, feels good. I got what I wanted." Cheng Zhuo, fuck, it does feel good. Because she had listened to her heart. She smiled. "But I still want to apologize to you for my harsh words and projecting my own insecurities. It's okay if you don't accept it, just saying it feels a bit better." Zhou Shun, "Then let's make it feel even better." Zhou Shun, "I accept it." Cheng Zhuo was afraid she'd laugh out loud, covering it with a cough. "Oh no, I might have insomnia now, I'm on cloud 9. Zhou Shun, are you laughing?" Cheng Zhuo, "Yeah, are you?" Zhou Shun, "Of course." Chapter 9. How could Zhou Shun be a disagreeable person? Cheng Zhuo had been pondering this question lately. She hadn't met anyone easier to get along with than Zhou Shun. Like a king who'd grown donkey ears and could only confess his secrets to a tree hollow, Zhou Shun was that tree, but his branches wouldn't betray her confidence. She could even take a nap beneath them. He didn't want it, didn't bother, didn't need to. He was tall, flourishing, substantial. People looked up at him instinctively as they passed by. It was this very thought that began to make Cheng Zhuo feel like a nuisance. Before receiving her new work assignment, she hadn't bothered Zhou Shun, focusing on her class and student council duties, along with studying and exercising, of course. She'd cut back on leisure activities, and despite enthusiastic invitations from roommates and club members, she'd assigned herself other tasks, keeping herself busy. These tasks also served as excellent excuses. Next time, definitely. How had she never realized how useful this phrase was before? At the end of March, Zhou Shun, a persistent corpse on her friend's list, came back to life. His Weibo and Bilibili accounts had new activity. An 8-minute video, a collaboration with an ergonomic chair company. The cleverness of Zhou Shun's videos lay in his approach. He never started with the product itself, but rather with a different proposition for which the product ultimately became the answer. The setting in the video was familiar, Zhou Shun's studio. Cheng Zhuo realized she'd sat in that very chair. She opened the ergonomic chair's official website. The price was over 3,000 yuan. When she checked again before bed, the monthly sales had already surpassed the price. Cheng Zhuo felt an inexplicable surge of excitement and messaged Zhou Shun. "I saw your new video. Is there anything I can do? I've had too much free time lately." Zhou Shun's reply didn't arrive until 10 a.m. The next day. "I fell asleep yesterday." Cheng Zhuo was in class and put her phone in her drawer to reply. Before she could send it, Zhou Shun added, "I'm going to eat. I'll talk to you this afternoon." Cheng Zhuo didn't believe he hadn't seen her typing. After pausing, she chose to send a message, hating the feeling of being left hanging. "Cheng Zhuo, I don't have class this afternoon. Give me some work if you have any." Zhou Shun didn't pretend to disappear. "Come to my place this afternoon." She brought Zhou Shun a milk tea, her favorite flavor. If he refused to drink it, she wouldn't be a loss. When she arrived at the studio, the door was already open. Zhou Shun was adjusting the camera on its tripod, then pointed it at her. Cheng Zhuo stopped. Zhou Shun beckoned. "Walk towards me, in a straight line." Cheng Zhuo froze, looking down. "I haven't changed my shoes yet." "Zhou Shun, come here first." Cheng Zhuo nodded and walked toward him. After about 5 steps, Zhou Shun called out, "Stop there." Cheng Zhuo stopped. Zhou Shun snapped a photo and straightened up. Cheng Zhuo pointed at herself. "Were you taking a picture of me?" Zhou Shun nodded. "Mm." Cheng Zhuo hurried over. "Can I see?" "Wait a second." Zhou Shun spoke faster. "Change your shoes first." Cheng Zhuo. "Okay." When she reached the tripod in her slippers, Zhou Shun had already cleared the space. She glanced at the display. The image was of her, standing there in a light yellow hoodie and jeans, expressionless. She'd forgotten to smile naturally and tuck in her chin. Cheng Zhuo wasn't quite satisfied. "This angle is a bit unflattering." Zhou Shun, in typical male fashion. "That's what you look like." Cheng Zhuo. She remained silent and handed the milk tea to Zhou Shun. Zhou Shun took it with one hand. "Thanks." He deftly pulled out the straw and poked it into the sealed opening. Cheng Zhuo watched him. He drank a third of it in one gulp, like a thirsty ox. Cheng Zhuo continued to watch him. Zhou Shun frowned slightly. "What are you looking at?" Cheng Zhuo said, I thought you wouldn't drink this kind of stuff. Zhou Shun asked, what should I drink? Motor oil? Cheng Zhuo guessed. Or that ashy water made from burning books. Zhou Shun chuckled. He asked dryly, did you film this? Cheng Zhuo choked. I was buying it for you. Zhou Shun put down the milk tea, removed the DSLR from the tripod, and handed it to Cheng Zhuo. Your new task. Use it for a week. Cheng Zhuo carefully took it. For the public account? Zhou Shun said. Our first order. Our. Cheng Zhuo repeated the word. Zhou Shun what? Cheng Zhuo. It feels like we're a joint economic venture. Zhou Shun raised an eyebrow slightly, not denying the description. Zhou Shun went to the desk, took out the instruction manual, put it back in the box, and then pushed the whole thing toward her. Cheng Zhuo began examining the camera. How much is this DSLR? Zhou Shun said. It hasn't been released yet. It's estimated to be between 7,000 and 8,000. Cheng Zhuo turned to him. Not released yet? What am I supposed to tell my roommate? Zhou Shun seemed unconcerned. That's your forte. Cheng Zhuo felt a little stung. I don't want to make excuses anymore. Zhou Shun said. Then tell the truth. Cheng Zhuo was silent for a few seconds. I can say I found a side hustle, writing product reviews, and this is a trial product. But what if they ask who my boss is? Well, I can say there's a confidentiality agreement in the contract. Cheng Zhuo fretted, but at the same time, she realized the answers in her mind were flowing endlessly, solving themselves. These had become her conditioned reflexes. Zhou Shun watched her with an almost smile on his face. Cheng Zhuo's face felt hot. What if they also asked me to recommend this kind of good opportunity to them? Zhou Shun said, those are your problems, right? Refusal, a skill she had been diligently practicing recently. Cheng Zhuo took a light breath. I understand. For the next half hour, Cheng Zhuo fiddled with the unreleased camera at Zhou Shun's place, while Zhou Shun played CS. Go carefree. Cheng Zhuo was speechless. She flipped through the manual. I thought you'd set a good example. Zhou Shun was wearing huge white headphones and couldn't hear her disgruntled mumbling at all. Gradually, Cheng Zhuo became absorbed. While trying out the portrait function, she turned her head and took a picture of Zhou Shun sitting sideways. The flash made the boy glance over, questioning. Cheng Zhuo pointed at the camera. Zhou Shun didn't say a word and returned his gaze to the monitor. Cheng Zhuo looked down at the picture she had taken of Zhou Shun. He looked like an internet-addicted teenager while gaming, his eyes bright, his expression engrossed. If he had the kind of terrifying parents you sometimes hear about, he'd be dragged off for electroshock therapy at any moment. A phone ringtone interrupted Cheng Zhuo's scrutiny. She looked up at the other side of the desk. Zhou Shun had already partially removed his headphones and answered the call. Hello? Oh, hold on. After hanging up, he looked at Cheng Zhuo. Go open the door. Then he put his headphones back on and looked at the monitor. Cheng Zhuo didn't even have time to ask who it was. She got up to open the door. A deliverman stood outside, handing her a bag of drinks. Cheng Zhuo froze, her face slowly turning red. In her hand was the same milk tea she had brought, the same brand and sweetness. Cheng Zhuo tried to confirm her suspicion. She carried it back and placed it next to Zhou Shun's keyboard. Zhou Shun glanced at it and took off his headphones again. Cheng Zhuo said, seems like you really like this flavor. Zhou Shun said, it's for you. Cheng Zhuo felt a surge of complex emotions, almost bringing tears to her eyes. Do you know me that well? Damn it, he did. Zhou Shun knew her very well. A milk tea, a failed attempt at goodwill, could still end up in her stomach. No loss for her, no matter how you looked at it. But if it was interpreted, that was a different story. It was truly mortifying. Zhou Shun's headset volume was high. The sound of gunfire from the game could faintly be heard. He looked at her as if he didn't understand where her emotional outburst was coming from. The milk tea you bought was good. I wanted to treat you to one too. What's wrong? Cheng Zhuo asked, is that all? Zhou Shun, that's all. Cheng Zhuo said, but it makes it seem like charity. Zhou Shun asked, did you buy me milk tea out of charity? Cheng Zhuo was speechless. Finally, she shook her head. No, she said, it was goodwill, gratitude, all sorts of things, but definitely not charity. I don't think you need it. But I bought my favorite flavor because if you refused, I had a backup plan. I'd drink it myself. Zhou Shun said, "Me too." His expression was calm as he spoke. Cheng Zhuo fell silent. A moment later, she pulled the milk tea closer, inserted the straw, and slowly started drinking. Zhou Shun put his headphones back on. Just as she was almost finished going through the functions in the manual, the boy beside her suddenly stood up, turned off his computer, and picked up his phone. "I'm going to sleep for a bit. Make yourself at home. Close the door when you leave," he instructed before walking back to his bedroom. Cheng Zhuo propped her head up for a moment, opened WeChat, and messaged Zhou Shun. "Thanks for the milk tea." "Zhou Shun, you're welcome." "Cheng Zhuo, did I disturb your rest?" "Zhou Shun, I could just lay down." Cheng Zhuo glanced at the closed bedroom door and joked. "Did you just lie down in a human-shaped charging pod or something?" "Zhou Shun, I don't drink motor oil, and I don't drink ashy water." Cheng Zhuo chuckled to herself and continued typing. "What flavor do you like? I'll bring it next time." After a while, Zhou Shun sent a picture, a screenshot of his takeout order from that afternoon, the same one she had in her hand. Chapter 10. The student council work piled up. The significant improvement in the publicity department's social media illustrations was all thanks to the new camera in Cheng Zhuo's hands. When anyone at the activity shoot asked about it, she just smiled and said it was borrowed from a friend. The memory card quickly filled up. One afternoon, while sorting and selecting photos, Cheng Zhuo got stuck on one particular image. It was the test shot of Zhou Shun playing games. Cheng Zhuo looked at it for a while, unsure whether to delete it or keep it. Finally, she exported it and sent it to Zhou Shun. Scrolling back, she found a photo of herself, stiffly standing in place, a not-so-great full-body shot taken by Zhou Shun. She flipped back and forth between the two photos, comparing them, and then concluded. When it came to photographing people, her photography skills were 10,000 times better than Zhou Shun's. After clearing the memory card, Cheng Zhuo plugged in the charger and found that Zhou Shun had already replied to her message. A question mark. Concise enough. Cheng Zhuo replied, "I'm sorting photos. This is the one I took of you last time." Zhou Shun skipped the topic entirely. "How's the camera working out?" "Cheng Zhuo, we're getting along fine." She immediately shared a few of her most satisfying recent photos. As always, Zhou Shun wasted no words assigning work. "I need to see the brief. This time, give it to me as a document, pictures and text separate." Next Tuesday. Cheng Zhuo didn't understand what brief meant. Afraid of looking clueless, she looked it up on Baidu. Because of this, Cheng Zhuo started searching and learning some media jargon, filling in the gaps in her knowledge. The dorm background was too messy, unsuitable for product shots. She visited the studio again. This time the guy was out, and she somehow even got his door code. Opening the door and walking in, Cheng Zhuo felt a little dazed. Were they really close enough for this? Zhou Shun's desk was a mess. She took a picture with her phone. "Can you tidy up a bit?" Zhou Shun, no. Cheng Zhuo, okay. She explained, "I'm not trying to be a house fairy. It's just that your desk is good for composition." Zhou Shun's language warmed slightly, also explaining, "If I tidy up, I won't be able to find anything. Wait for me to get back half an hour." A moment later, he suggested, "You can read a book." Cheng Zhuo wasn't someone who crossed boundaries. She didn't snoop around or touch anything, instead settling down at his reading stand. On it lay a book open to page 60-something. She started reading. A relatively dry social science book, but it wasn't Zhou Shun's first time reading it. Further on, she could see quite a few passages marked with a highlighter. When Zhou Shun returned, Cheng Zhuo considered asking where he'd been, but the moment she turned around, the question flew out of her mind. Because he was holding 2 cups of milk tea. Cheng Zhuo smiled. Zhou Shun smiled too. He noticed that there were also 2 unopened cups of milk tea on his desk, brought by Cheng Zhuo. His smile was completely unlike an adult, very genuine, with a youthful air. Zhou Shun walked over. "I suggest you drink mine. Yours is probably cold by now." Cheng Zhuo disagreed. "I considered that, so I bought room temperature." Zhou Shun asked, "Is it better hot or cold?" Cheng Zhuo said, "Let's try both." He sat down in another chair and unceremoniously poked open both cups, taking a sip from each. Zhou Shun declared, "Mine is better." Cheng Zhuo said, "Of course the one you paid for is better." Zhou Shun took a large gulp, as if in agreement. Childish behavior. Cheng Zhuo watched him speechlessly. "You're going to have a sugar overload today." Zhou Shun didn't agree or disagree. Cheng Zhuo asked, "Where did you just go?" Zhou Shun said, "Fishing." "Of course, the fishing enthusiast." Cheng Zhuo asked, "Did you catch anything?" Zhou Shun rattled off the scientific names of 3 fish. Cheng Zhuo didn't recognize any of them and couldn't immediately Google them. So she offered a vague congratulation. "Congratulations, quite a haul." Zhou Shun looked at her. "Have you taken any pictures yet?" Cheng Zhuo shook her head. "You said to wait until you got back." Zhou Shun glanced at the reading stand. "You were reading just now." Cheng Zhuo said, "Yes." She asked, "Do you read a book many times?" She sneered inwardly. The king of overachievers. He always made it impossible for anyone to feel at peace academically. Zhou Shun said, "I read this one a long time ago. I found it again after you were here last time." Cheng Zhuo was taken aback. "Why?" Zhou Shun said, "It helps me interact with you." Cheng Zhuo was suddenly speechless. Her heartbeat was quickening. She could feel it. His answer was somewhat ambiguous, but also so straightforward that it made the ambiguity questionable. She had to say something as a defense or a countermeasure. So Cheng Zhuo quickly spoke. "I didn't write this book." Zhou Shun said, "You couldn't write it." Cheng Zhuo remained speechless. He was still him, refreshingly unconventional. She asked, "Is it that important? Interacting with me? You're already pretty solitary." Zhou Shun glanced at her. "It's important." He said, "My team will be expanding in the future. This kind of interpersonal relationship is important." "So, is she just a guinea pig?" Cheng Zhuo was silent for a moment. "My advice is don't give your studio door code to them so early, or find another, more public workspace. This place is too personal. You can't guarantee that everyone won't have prying eyes or bad intentions." She picked up the milk tea on the table. "Remember to buy as many drinks as there are people. You don't have to release the fish you catch every time. Occasionally, you can bring them back and have a barbecue with the employees who are working overtime. It increases interaction, boosts team cohesion." Zhou Shun didn't say a word, seemingly taking it in. Whether he'd taken it in or not, Cheng Zhuo felt herself radiating with holy light, teaching a man to fish, and Zhou Shun at that. How awesome. That afternoon, they each did their own thing. Zhou Shun edited videos. Cheng Zhuo took pictures and submitted them to him on the spot for review and selection. By the time they were finished, it was already 6:30. Cheng Zhuo packed up her canvas bag, confirming the final deadline for submission. "Tuesday, right? Day or night?" Zhou Shun stared at his monitor, without looking up. "Day." Cheng Zhuo tried to negotiate. "I have to make a bulletin board during the day." "Night." Zhou Shun said, "Guess which will look better on your resume next year, during campus recruitment, student council president, or having managed a public account for me?" His tone was very flat, and also very arrogant. Cheng Zhuo was quiet for a few seconds, finding a point to counterattack. "HR might think I'm bragging." Zhou Shun finally looked up. "Resumes are all about bragging." Cheng Zhuo tilted her head. "But there's reasonable bragging, and then there's unbelievable bragging." Zhou Shun looked back at his screen, still with that indifferent look. "On you. It would be reasonable." Cheng Zhuo didn't understand. "How so?" Zhou Shun said, "You're very socially adept. Socially adept people usually have strong persuasive power." Cheng Zhuo gestured towards the book. "Is that why you're reading The Social Animal?" Zhou Shun glanced at it. Cheng Zhuo quickly found a way out, leaving no room for retreat. "Then can I persuade you to let me submit it Tuesday night? I don't want to rush and hand in something subpar. Just this once." Zhou Shun was silent for 2 seconds, then added, "Don't make it a habit. I'm out." Afraid that Zhou Shun might change his mind on the spot, she slung her canvas bag over her shoulder and hurried towards the entrance. The guy's lips curved into an almost imperceptible smile, and he called out to her, "Wait." Cheng Zhuo reversed and returned to her spot. "What further instructions do you have?" Zhou Shun pushed the milk tea packaging towards her. Throw this away. You've never asked me to throw away your trash before. Increasing interaction, boosting team cohesion. Awesome. Chapter 11. At the beginning of April, Cheng Zhuo's first commercial draft was officially published on Zhou Shun's public account. The entire article wasn't edited much. In Zhou Shun's words, Cheng Zhuo's writing was like diatomaceous earth, very eco-friendly and accessible, and the appropriately rough phrasing added a touch of humor. The brand was also satisfied. After it was published at 8 p.m., Cheng Zhuo kept refreshing the page views, but she didn't have back-end access, and Zhou Shun hadn't enabled comments, so she couldn't get immediate reader feedback. Close to midnight, the views exceeded 100,000. Cheng Zhuo couldn't bear it any longer and asked Zhou Shun, "Can you select some comments for me to see?" Zhou Shun said, "Wait." He generously sent her the login email and password, telling her to look herself. Cheng Zhuo commented, "You're really unguarded." Zhou Shun, "I said I'd temporarily hand over the public account to you. So, it starts now." Cheng Zhuo didn't say anything more. After logging into his backend, she saw that Zhou Shun's account was called Novice across several platforms, which was somewhat pretentious and worthy of a little mockery. But seconds later, her mocking thoughts vanished. Cheng Zhuo was completely speechless. She faced the power of traffic for the first time, at such close range. The numbers accumulated like a tide, each refresh a wave, drowning her. In that moment, Cheng Zhuo felt incredibly small, like a grain of sand, a piece of duckweed. It was like the creator flipping their hand to make it rain, immensely grand. It felt unreal. 3 days later, this feeling faded as trivial matters pulled her back to reality. As class president, she had to organize a spring outing. But the outing was just an excuse. It was actually a spontaneous social gathering. Cheng Zhuo studied communications, a major with more women than men, and the other class was in electrical engineering, predominantly male. This kind of social interaction to expand their networks happened every spring and autumn. Cheng Zhuo rented the bus for this trip. At 6 a.m., she contacted the driver and waited outside the school gate. Her roommates went with her to secure seats in advance. At 7 a.m., Cheng Zhuo ticked off the last name on the roster and turned to the male class president of the other class, Lu Bai. "We're all here, how about you?" he said, still missing one. He knocked on the bus window. "Where's Zhou Shun?" A boy in a white t-shirt poked his head out. "How would I know? He doesn't live in the dorm anymore." "Zhou Shun?" Cheng Zhuo frowned slightly. Was it the Zhou Shun she knew? Or just someone with the same name? Soon, the belated arrival of a certain figure confirmed her guess. It really was the Zhou Shun she knew. He carried the same pure white tackle box she saw him with the first time, his expression indifferent, his pace unhurried. "Oh my God, you're finally here." Lu Bai went to meet him, pushing him to hurry up. Zhou Shun didn't show any aversion to this physical contact, not even frowning, only pausing his gaze briefly when he saw Cheng Zhuo. He was then ushered onto the bus. The back seats were all taken, and Lu Bai sat in the passenger seat, leaving only 2 seats on the left side of one row. Zhou Shun stopped there, and so did Cheng Zhuo. Cheng Zhuo asked, "Do you want the window seat?" Zhou Shun, "You take it. I need to put my things in the aisle." Cheng Zhuo, "Okay." And so they sat together. As the bus started moving, Lu Bai turned around to ask Zhou Shun to sign in. Cheng Zhuo noticed his grip on the pen, not quite standard, but his handwriting still showed sharp strokes despite the bumps in the road. Cheng Zhuo commented, "Your handwriting is very nice." Zhou Shun didn't reply, just yawned and flipped the form back, returning it to Lu Bai. Cheng Zhuo felt a bit awkward and lowered her voice. "Is the script today to pretend we don't know each other?" Zhou Shun's voice had a childlike slur. "Sleepy." Cheng Zhuo smiled slightly. "What time did you go to bed last night?" Zhou Shun said, 3 o'clock. Cheng Zhuo was surprised. "You only slept for 3 hours?" Zhou Shun, She was eager to know what he was busy with so late, afraid she'd inadvertently fall behind on work. "Doing what?" Zhou Shun, modifying a tablet. Confirming it was completely unrelated, Cheng Zhuo relaxed and offered perfunctory praise. Sounds impressive. Then she pulled out a neck pillow from her backpack and handed it to him. Want this? Zhou Shun accepted it without hesitation, looped it around his neck, and closed his eyes. A bizarre scene then unfolded. The boy's head actually tilted towards her almost 90 degrees. This made Cheng Zhuo uncomfortable, like sitting on pins and needles, even though she knew his eyes were closed. First time meeting. Who would do this? She suggested. Can you sleep facing the other way? Zhou Shun. I can only sleep on my left side. Cheng Zhuo couldn't argue, so she also maintained a left-leaning posture, playing with her phone facing the window. The dorm group chat mentioned Zhou Shun, and they knew they were sitting together, so teasing was inevitable. Cheng Zhuo casually responded and focused on the green wheat waves and golden flower fields outside the window. After a while, she took out her phone, capturing the beautiful scenery. After passing a peach grove, she suddenly became curious about Zhou Shun's sleeping posture. She switched her phone to the front-facing camera, adjusted the angle, and searched for Zhou Shun behind her through the gap. When half of the boy's face appeared on the screen, his eyes were open, black and white, without fluctuation. Their gazes met on the screen. Cheng Zhuo. She was startled, quickly pressing the side button to turn off the phone. She turned back. You weren't asleep? He remained motionless, still frank. I was watching what you were taking pictures of. Cheng Zhuo. She was still shaken. That's terrifying, okay? Zhou Shun said. Being secretly photographed while sleeping is more terrifying. Cheng Zhuo's face was heating up. I wasn't taking pictures. I was just curious what you look like when you sleep. Zhou Shun said. You could have just turned around and looked. Cheng Zhuo. But you weren't asleep either. Zhou Shun. Your pillow smells too strong. Cheng Zhuo paused for a second. What smell? It couldn't be the smell of her scalp oil, could it? Zhou Shun, fragrant. Cheng Zhuo breathed a sigh of relief. I sprayed sandalwood perfume for sleep. She extended her right hand. If you don't like it, give it back. Zhou Shun didn't take it off. He looked at her without much emotion. To be precise, his eyes rarely held emotion, not even scrutiny. But precisely because there was no emotion, it made people suspicious and then apprehensive. Cheng Zhuo tried to keep her voice steady. Can you please stop looking at me like that? I apologize. I swear I won't be so curious again, but if you hadn't looked at me, you wouldn't have known I was looking at you. So we're even. Zhou Shun didn't speak, finally turning his head away and crossing his arms. His guarded look was inexplicably funny. His black hair tips sank into the pillow, and without that calm, insightful look, he seemed a little vulnerable. After a moment, Cheng Zhuo whispered, Are you asleep? Zhou Shun, Cheng Zhuo chuckled to herself. Okay, she pretended to believe him. Chapter 12. After arriving at the spring outing destination, Cheng Zhuo suddenly understood why Zhou Shun, the loner, was willing to participate in such a group activity. Right at the entrance of the eco-park was a striking large fish pond, like a mirror embedded in the earth. From afar, people fishing could be seen all around. Further inside was the open-air barbecue area. Most of the people who came for the outing were families, setting up tents, with children boisterously playing hide-and-seek. The students got off the bus at the intersection, a large and eye-catching group. Lu Bai turned around and asked his class, Is everyone hungry? The boys instantly transformed into ravenous beasts, howling in response. Cheng Zhuo watched them laughingly, and imitating Lu Bai, asked her classmates, Are you all hungry? The girls drew out their voices, starving. Before looking away, Cheng Zhuo deliberately searched for Zhou Shun. As expected, he was walking at the back, a world unto himself, looking at his phone. He had left his jacket in the bus and was only wearing a white short-sleeved shirt, but his arms were almost the same color as his shirt. The sun was high in the sky, and he frowned impatiently. Cheng Zhuo stopped paying attention. On the endless green lawn, the girls spread out picnic blankets and laid out lunchboxes and fruit. The engineering boys were not to be outdone, taking out snacks from their backpacks to share. Everyone was initially reserved, but gradually found common topics. Lu Bai, gnawing on a sandwich extorted from his roommate, organized some people to barbecue. Cheng Zhuo naturally helped out, arranging things back and forth. Overheated, she returned to her dorm's red and white checkered territory to ask for water. Song Ying handed her a can of Coke. Cheng Zhuo pulled the tab, gulped down half the can, then looked around, asking where Luan King had gone. Song Ying said she went to the lake. Cheng Zhuo blinked. Song Ying added, several people went to watch the fishing, including that Zhou Shun of yours. Cheng Zhuo chuckled. What do you mean that Zhou Shun of mine? Song Ying corrected herself. The Zhou Shun, you know. As expected, Cheng Zhuo sighed inwardly and looked towards the fish pond, but unfortunately, that area was sunken. Even if she stood on tiptoe, her view would be blocked by the willows and reeds. She had to take her Coke and walk closer. Arriving at the lakeshore, there were indeed 7 or 8 people gathered there, squatting or standing, mostly boys, with Luan King being the only girl. They were all watching with great interest. Zhou Shun sat in the center, steady and composed, holding his fishing rod as if in meditation. But he wasn't completely ignoring everyone around him, as if they were air. If someone asked a question out of curiosity, he would turn his head to answer, without showing any impatience on his face. Cheng Zhuo squinted, watching and drinking her Coke. After a while, probably because her legs were numb, Luan King straightened up and looked around. She happened to see Cheng Zhuo on the shore and waved at her. Some boys looked over at the same time, then quickly turned back for fear of missing the moment a fish took the bait. Luan King shouted, "Come down and play." As soon as she finished speaking, she covered her lips and kept silent, only maintaining her beckoning gesture. Cheng Zhuo shook her head, gesturing that she still had to go back and help skewer the barbecue, finally spreading her hands in regret. Luan King, however, didn't stay put, but ran up to the shore. Cheng Zhuo asked, "Why did you come up?" Luan King looked back, her face full of grievance. "Zhou Shun is so fierce." Cheng Zhuo laughed. "Huh." Luan King, "I just called you," and he directly said, "Don't be noisy," in a super serious tone, you know? It scared me. Cheng Zhuo said, "He's probably afraid of scaring the fish away." Luan King, "So I slipped away." Cheng Zhuo said, "Then come back with me to barbecue." Luan King nodded. As they walked back, Luan King was still complaining about Zhou Shun, saying he was really a man's man. Cheng Zhuo replied, "Weren't you watching him with relish?" Luan King scoffed. "Was I there to watch fishing? I was just dwelling on why he didn't give me his WeChat last time, and now seeing him up close, I don't think he's anything special. He's not my type." Cheng Zhuo asked, "What's your type?" Luan King, "A player, a fishing master, but not this kind of real fishing enthusiast like my uncle." Cheng Zhuo gave her a thumbs up. Luan King added, "Or a warm guy like your boyfriend is also good." Cheng Zhuo fell silent. After a moment, she pursed her lips, but I broke up with him. Huh? Luan King's mouth opened wide enough to stuff a steamed bun in. When did that happen? Cheng Zhuo quickly ran through the most suitable time frame in her mind. At the end of last month. Luan King put her arm around her. "I said you haven't mentioned him much lately." Cheng Zhuo sighed, forcing a bitter smile. Long-distance relationship. You know, back at the barbecue grill, Cheng Zhuo's mood suddenly plummeted. Absent-mindedly, she stuck chicken mid-wings on a bamboo skewers. Yes, that sense of dejection appeared again, intensely. Casually dropping a lie hadn't made her feel better, light and free. The traces of deception lingered. Her practiced acting was like black blood remaining in her body. When they were stirred and began to flow, they always managed to darken her with the greatest speed, turning her back into the person who couldn't stand the light. The bamboo skewer accidentally pricked her hand, painfully. Cheng Zhuo quickly sniffed, holding back tears. She held her thumb and went to the side to rinse the wound under the tap. In her peripheral vision, a group of people walked back, Zhou Shun among them. She turned off the tap and looked over. Squad leader Lu walked forward, bent down, and asked Zhou Shun how many fish he had caught. The boy immediately pulled the fish bucket behind him protectively, refusing to let it be touched. Not only was Lu Bai stunned, But the other boys who came with him were also taken aback. He really didn't give anyone face, as usual. Cheng Zhuo wanted to laugh. Lu Bai wasn't embarrassed, quickly finding a way out. What's up? What do you mean? Not for your bros to eat? I haven't approved less leave for you. Zhou Shun said no. Then he walked towards Cheng Zhuo. Cheng Zhuo watched him approach and stopped beside her. He lifted the fish bucket and placed it on the stone shelf by the pool here. The surrounding boys instantly turned wolfish, howling nonstop. Lu Bai clicked his tongue and waved his hand. All right, it's a tribute to the girl. The nearby girls also craned their necks to look, excitedly joining the commotion, as if they wouldn't rest until chaos reigned. Cheng Zhuo was completely bewildered and asked softly, "What's going on?" Zhou Shun's expression was calm as he repeated her previous suggestion. You don't have to release the fish you catch every time. You can bring them back and barbecue with the employees who are working overtime. Cheng Zhuo couldn't help but laugh. It's not overtime now. Zhou Shun lifted his eyelids slightly, casually glancing around. But you're the only employee here. The bad mood swept away. Cheng Zhuo looked at the fruits in the bucket and accepted readily. All right, I'll handle it. Zhou Shun suddenly asked, will you be uncomfortable? No, you should be the one who's uncomfortable. Cheng Zhuo glanced at him, showing a hint of teasing without malice. Only we know this is a reward, but in other people's eyes, it's courtship behavior. Zhou Shun seemed to belatedly furrow his brow, apologizing rarely. I forgot something. What? You have a boyfriend? Cheng Zhuo also reacted, broke up. Zhou Shun. Cheng Zhuo. Just now, Zhou Shun was silent for a second. The fish are all yours. Happy breakup. Dropping these two words, he turned and walked away. Chapter 13. Cheng Zhuo's attitude toward Zhou Shun's fish gift was, she really would thank him, because of the ensuing chain reactions that were both funny and exasperating. For example, when they got back on the bus one after the other, their classmates erupted in another round of teasing. And for example, as soon as they arrived back at school, Lu Bai came over to joke, Zhou Shun, aren't you going to walk our class president back to her dorm? Her roommates fled the scene at lightning speed, practically race-walking away. So after the bus left, the two of them stood there, speechless. Cheng Zhuo glanced at the direction of Zhou Shun's apartment complex, then at her phone. You don't really have to walk me back. It's 9:30. Go back. Zhou Shun, however, made an unusual suggestion. Walk for a bit? Cheng Zhuo was a little surprised. Really walk? Zhou Shun nodded. Cheng Zhuo gestured to the fishing box in his hand. Isn't that heavy to carry? Zhou Shun offered it to her. You want it? Cheng Zhuo's left shoulder instinctively recoiled. Zhou Shun chuckled and lowered the box. His smile was particularly lively, like a flower. Using flowers to describe a boy was inevitably awkward, but with Zhou Shun's rosy lips and white teeth, once his composed expression relaxed, it did make one think of descriptions like flower-like youth. Cheng Zhuo's lips curved into a smile, and she joked in return. If you pay me, I might consider doing the heavy lifting. Zhou Shun said, no need, let's go. They walked side by side towards the campus. Spring night, evening breeze, clusters of crabapple blossoms, melted by the streetlights in a translucent gold foil. Cheng Zhuo looked up at the high branches. I didn't think you'd actually walk me back to my dorm. Zhou Shun said, I've walked you back once before. Cheng Zhuo almost forgot, and, after a few seconds of recollection, she reacted, oh, right, the day you were going to lend me money. Zhou Shun hummed in agreement. That day, they had also walked side by side like this, but without any communication, one with a pale face, the other with a dark one. The dark one being Cheng Zhuo, feeling utterly humiliated and a mix of complex emotions. Thinking about it, Cheng Zhuo laughed. Why did you walk me back that day? Zhou Shun replied. I was afraid you'd go to the lake again. You were very agitated that day, he added. Cheng Zhuo fell silent, a wave of sourness gripping her nose. She noticed many details, all of them vivid in her mind. She inhaled, exhaled, and returned to a composed state, asking casually, and that other day, the first time we met, when I wanted to add you on WeChat, you asked if I'd message you after I got back. Was it also because of this? Zhou Shun, She didn't know how to describe her current feelings. It seems you're really afraid I'll die, Zhou Shun said. I think it's not just me. Cheng Zhuo's eyes reddened. What is this, sentimental night? Monthly summary. Zhou Shun said. There's something I want to tell you. Cheng Zhuo asked, what? Zhou Shun. According to the agreed split in the contract, you've already paid back a quarter of your debt. Cheng Zhuo was surprised. I only wrote one piece, Zhou Shun said, but it's very valuable. Cheng Zhuo shook her head. What's valuable is your traffic. If this advertorial wasn't posted by novice, I think it would mostly go unnoticed. Zhou Shun said. Do you remember what you said before? Cheng Zhuo, what? Zhou Shun. You said that even if I farted, everyone would think it smelled sweet. If I really just farted, would everyone still think it's sweet? Zhou Shun glanced at her. If I really posted some random nonsense, not only would it not pass the client's review, would the fans buy it? Being earnest is very valuable. The basis for the public paying for your videos or advertorials is your earnestness. All the smooth and interesting impressions are because you are outputting your earnestness. Cheng Zhuo digested this, finally agreeing. You are indeed an earnest person. Zhou Shun replied. Aren't you? Cheng Zhuo said. My earnestness all this time seems to have only been to create a facade. She smiled and changed her tune. But recently, I feel like I'm becoming more and more real. I lied again today, telling my roommates that I broke up. For a moment, I felt down. And then, there's no and then. The grilled fish was delicious, and everyone was happy. My roommates' reactions were even more adorable. One was avoiding the topic, afraid I'd be sad, and the other was cheering me on. It didn't feel so bad to let go of a certain halo. They care about me. Still, I have to say, the fish you inadvertently sent was a great comfort to me. Cheng Zhuo kicked a pebble along the path. You might not understand, but interpersonal value is quite important to me. Connecting with the world makes me feel more present. So, Zhou Shun said, so what if it's fake? You live earnestly. That's enough. Look at your public account back in more. You're connecting with the world even more. Hundreds of thousands of reads, tens of thousands of comments. The people who actually buy the product are maybe just a few thousand. What are the others doing? They're absorbing your earnestness. Whether it's for reference or to kill boredom, they're very relaxed for those few minutes. I haven't promoted the public account on any other platform, but the number of followers has grown wildly recently. Know how capable you are now. For the latter half of the walk back to the dorm, the two were almost silent, the air quietly filled with the fragrance of flowers. The dormitory building was close at hand. Cheng Zhuo suddenly stopped, put her hands in the pockets of her dress, turned right on the spot, and looked at Zhou Shun. Do you mind if I'm blatantly curious about you? The boy looked back, a flicker of confusion across his face. It's been a long time. Cheng Zhuo tapped her right heel on the ground. I want to know more about you. Zhou Shun's brow furrowed slightly. Isn't that already happening? So he knew, and he wouldn't pretend not to. Cheng Zhuo chuckled. What about you? Zhou Shun asked. What do you mean? Cheng Zhuo shot him a look. I don't believe you don't understand. Zhou Shun's composure immediately broke, his lips curving slightly. I think it's also happening. He's good at pretending. But why couldn't she help but want to laugh? Her heart was protesting. This wasn't a place to linger. Cheng Zhuo tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. All right, I'm going upstairs. It was too strange, too bizarre, too suffocating. The current subtlety was like a scalding dye that could stain her red. She became both bold and timid, seemingly composed as she fled in a panic. Before entering the dormitory, Cheng Zhuo stopped at the entrance of the building, took a deep breath, and lowered her head to type a WeChat message. She didn't understand whether she was trying to verify something or confirm something, but she knew that if she didn't express it, she wouldn't feel right. So she asked Zhou Shun, "You'll still reply to my messages, right?" The reply came almost instantly. I will. He was clearly still walking. Cheng Zhuo's eyes curved into crescents. Replying so fast? Didn't distract you from looking at the trees, did it? Zhou Shun, no, you're also green now. Chapter 14. Strictly speaking, Cheng Zhuo had never been in a relationship since birth. but she had a relationship with her ideal perfect lover for more than 2 years. In the scripts she fabricated, her boyfriend was impeccable, treated her like a child, and spoiled her as much as possible. She concealed it from everyone, but never believed he really existed. As for Zhou Shun, he was undoubtedly excellent, but completely contrary to her dream boyfriend. Their only common point was their height, both over 180 cm. But on this strange spring night, a strange throbbing occurred, and they both said strange things in unison. After taking a shower, her heart was still pounding. While brushing her teeth, she kept turning on her phone screen. She didn't reply to his green comment, but that didn't mean she didn't care if he would continue to contact her. The result was very Zhou Shun. The chat content was not updated, and he didn't seem to be anxious or restless about it. Cheng Zhuo leaned against the head of the bed with her legs bent, just about to put on her headphones to listen to music, when her roommate asked about her breakup and mentioned Zhou Shun, and they all laughed strangely. Cheng Zhuo didn't care. Such things were not uncommon in the dormitory. Many boys had shown her affection, and her roommates had witnessed some of them. But Zhou Shun was unexpected, so much so that she still felt a little dazed. She opened WeChat, and Zhou Shun still didn't respond. Cheng Zhuo took the initiative to ask, "Are you asleep?" Zhou Shun replied, "Not yet." "Cheng Zhuo, what are you doing?" Zhou Shun sent a photo. Cheng Zhuo opened it. He was watching a theatrical version of an anime on the projector. Cheng Zhuo typed, "You continue." Zhou Shun, "What do you want to say?" I paused it. Cheng Zhuo, "Nothing." She said, "I didn't reply to your message for a long time. I was afraid you'd think I was playing some kind of push and pull trick. I just didn't know how to reply." Zhou Shun, "I didn't think that." Zhou Shun, "I was just wondering if that sentence was too abrupt." Cheng Zhuo covered her lips with a quilt and smiled quietly. She said, "Not really." She commented, "But that sentence is indeed not easy to respond to. What do you think?" There was a moment of silence in the chat, and Zhou Shun agreed. "Yeah." He said, "It's been more than 2 minutes. I can't recall it." He also said, "Delete it yourself." Cheng Zhuo, "Out of sight, out of mind." Cheng Zhuo was quite angry and didn't reply to Zhou Shun anymore. This was the first time she ignored a message from Zhou Shun since they established their employer-employee relationship. Spoiled and arrogant. Little girl's temper. She didn't want to describe herself with these shallow words. Zhou Shun's attitude was clear. He was curious about her, had a good impression of her, and was more or less caring about her, the kind of caring a man has for a woman. So she subconsciously took advantage of it. It was shameful, but uncontrollable. The emotions involved in interpersonal relationships, family, friendship, love, teacher-student relationships, all have different details but similar breakthroughs, creating dependence. The capable ones do more work is a life/work state that most people dislike, but Cheng Zhuo is not like that. She needs to be needed, which allows her to rise with the wind. Zhou Shun would definitely reflect and take the initiative to talk to her again. But when she woke up the next day, Cheng Zhuo was hit hard. Zhou Shun did take the initiative, but he sent her a brief, announcing that her next stage of work was about to begin. The time was 2:30 in the morning. Cheng Zhuo sat on the bed in a daze, her face darkening. Could it be that the person involved, not acting like a human, rushed to make this overnight? She replied, received, and didn't forget to complain, "It's Sunday today." The exclamation mark was added in her mind. The chat interface was as quiet as a chicken. The capitalist was indeed still sleeping. Cheng Zhuo immediately got out of bed, washed up, went for a morning run, had breakfast, and brought breakfast for her roommate. After returning to the dormitory, she turned on her computer to read the brief in detail and draft an outline. The ambiguity of last night disappeared. "Zhou Shun, you're amazing." At noon, just as she was about to order takeout, Zhou Shun appeared. "Are you busy today?" Cheng Zhuo. She quoted the file. Everything was implied. Zhou Shun said, "I didn't ask you to finish it right away." He asked, "Have you had lunch?" Cheng Zhuo said, "Not yet." Zhou Shun, "I'm going to eat at school." Cheng Zhuo agreed, because he said he would treat her. She was still in debt and couldn't resist the power of money. At noon, She waited for Zhou Shun at the door of a small restaurant near the cafeteria. He probably didn't sleep well, with slight dark circles under his eyes and his hair a little messy. He was always like this, not very concerned about his appearance. Cheng Zhuo bought 2 bottles of drinks in advance and handed him one. The boy was stunned, took it, and unscrewed the cap to drink. Cheng Zhuo noticed his prominent Adam's apple. He was too pale. So many of his shadows and angles on his body were not easily noticeable. They walked to the cafeteria, and Cheng Zhuo asked bluntly, "Didn't you sleep well?" Zhou Shun turned his eyes. "Yeah." Cheng Zhuo said, "I fell asleep instantly and slept very well." She cursed her words and deeds in her heart. She was so boring, shameless, and petty. They walked silently to the second floor, and Cheng Zhuo chose her usual favorite noodle restaurant. Zhou Shun followed her, even ordering the same dishes. While waiting for the number to be called, Zhou Shun gave her the bag in his hand. Cheng Zhuo looked up. "What's this?" Zhou Shun, "This product, a tablet." Cheng Zhuo replied, "Okay, I'll take a look when I get back." Zhou Shun's lips curved. Cheng Zhuo frowned. "What are you laughing at?" Actually, there was no need to think. Sending the brief allowed them to talk. Sending the product allowed them to meet. And successfully seeing her was a pleasant experience with a good reason. Zhou Shun explained his feelings truthfully. "Seeing you makes me feel better." Cheng Zhuo, "Do you think seeing the brief and the product made me feel better?" Zhou Shun admitted frankly, "I can't think of any other reason to meet and talk to you right now." Cheng Zhuo felt a sharp ringing in her heart, but she didn't show it. "It's not that difficult to be direct." Zhou Shun said, "I was direct, and you ignored me." Cheng Zhuo almost rubbed her head. "Are you talking like a human? You asked me to delete the words you said." Zhou Shun, "Your reaction made me feel like it caused trouble." Cheng Zhuo exhaled slowly. "Actually, no, I was just a little confused and a little happy." He actually asked, "Then why didn't you say so? Can I, as a girl, be reserved?" She raised her voice. Zhou Shun paused for a second. "Okay." Then there was silence. Her face was very hot, and so was her chest, faintly burning. Cheng Zhuo looked around restlessly and noticed Zhou Shun's meal card, which was placed next to his hand, facing up with his 1-inch photo. Cheng Zhuo raised her eyes and tried to see his appearance clearly. Zhou Shun, who had been paying attention to her, pushed it over. Cheng Zhuo was stunned. "What for?" Zhou Shun didn't say a word. Cheng Zhuo looked away and picked it up to observe. Zhou Shun's hair was shorter than it is now, and he was unsmiling, cold and sharp. "You were a freshman then, right?" Cheng Zhuo asked. "Yeah. You don't look very happy. Was it because you didn't do well in the college entrance examination?" Zhou Shun said, "Because the place where I took the photo was too noisy." Cheng Zhuo couldn't help but smile. Cheng Zhuo asked, "If you hadn't failed the college entrance examination, where would you have gone to college?" Zhou Shun said, "Huaka, probably." Cheng Zhuo paused, without any schadenfreude, only extreme regret. "You used to have such good grades? How did you end up here?" He really, clearly belonged in a place like that, where the sky is high and birds can fly. Perhaps the question was abrupt. Zhou Shun suddenly fell silent, his eyelids drooping, becoming dull. Cheng Zhuo had never seen such gloom on him. Just as she was about to wave her hand and say it didn't matter if he didn't answer, the boy raised his eyes. "A friend of mine committed suicide." Chapter 15. At the beginning of Zhou Shun's story, he wasn't 1 in a million, but rather 1 in 10,000, an ordinary high school boy. His life followed a predictable routine: school, home, study. He had good grades, a happy family, clear goals, and defined interests. His path to adulthood was smooth and uneventful. Of course, he also had solid relationships. He had a particularly close childhood friend. Their mothers had met at the same samba club, hit it off immediately, and become best friends. They even got pregnant around the same time. Perhaps influenced by their mother's bond, the two boys had been inseparable since they were toddlers, sharing similar interests. Daycare, kindergarten, elementary school, middle school, high school. They attended the same schools, were in the same classes, and shared the same hobbies. They played soccer together, played video games together, boasted together, built Legos together, learned programming together, and rode mountain bikes together, speeding through every sunrise and sunset, every season. Looking at him was like looking in a mirror, Zhou Shun stated calmly. I thought he was just like me. He wasn't. The night before the college entrance exam, Zhou Shun couldn't sleep and complained to his friend. His friend replied, "Don't worry, you'll definitely have a bright future." Zhou Shun corrected him, "No, we'll both have bright futures." The next morning before the exam, he messaged him again, "Good luck." There was no reply. He boarded the bus and didn't see him. Their homeroom teacher frantically made phone calls, then finally got on the bus and told the driver, "Let's go." Her face was pale. Zhou Shun looked at the daylight outside and suddenly felt a chill run down his spine. He considered all sorts of possibilities, then dismissed them all, praying for his friend, telling himself not to overthink. But there was one thing he hadn't considered. Only his father came to pick him up at noon. The middle-aged man drove with a heavy heart, asking how he felt. Zhou Shun replied, "Okay." A police car was parked in front of their house. As soon as his father entered the house, he rebuked his mother. "Didn't I tell you to send them away first? We don't have a test taker in our family." His mother said, "They said they still needed to ask Shun some questions." His father, red-faced and furious, vented at the two police officers. "Couldn't you wait until after the exam? Do you have any compassion?" Zhou Shun looked at them. What happened? His father didn't speak. His mother just cried. Only the police officer answered him. "Your friend, Song Yuza, committed suicide by jumping from a building this morning. Did you have any contact with him yesterday?" His father started to rage again, his mouth opening and closing dramatically. But Zhou Shun couldn't hear him anymore. Something heavy exploded violently above his head, shattering into pieces. He heard his own breathing become rapid, become labored. His eyes burned with a searing pain, and his head buzzed. He was almost deafened. No wonder he hadn't replied to his messages. No wonder he hadn't gone to the exam. No wonder he hadn't said that they would both have bright futures. His parents tried to comfort him. His teachers tried to console him. They even said, "Focus on your exams, especially for your friend." Grand words, but no one told him the reason. Not a single person told him why. He asked himself hoarsely, his vision blurring constantly. His hand trembled as he held his pen. He couldn't solve the problems. When the last exam ended, it was raining outside, the world hazy like a dream. If only it were a dream, he thought, gritting his teeth, tears streaming down his face. His parents waited for him with an umbrella. Seeing his state, they ultimately remained silent. He attended his friend's funeral. The funeral hall was draped in black gauze and white chrysanthemums. The young man's portrait was youthful and bright, a toothy grin, full of spirit. He looked at him, and he looked back at him. Song Yu's mother wept bitterly, grabbed him, and asked agitatedly, Shun, do you know why? Did he tell you anything? Why would he do something so drastic?" Zhou Shun trembled all over. No one knew why. There were many speculations. They expressed their regret. They pointed fingers. They judged. They said he was weak, that he was escaping, that he was irresponsible. Then they said the teachers were negligent. The parents were at fault. There was a big problem with education. Today's kids had no resilience and couldn't handle pressure. There was always something to say. The deceased had no way to defend himself. The world only looked at the ending and the result. The discussion was lively and exceptionally cold. After the exam scores came out, Zhou Shun went to the cemetery with a bouquet of flowers and 2 cans of ice cola. He sat cross-legged in front of his friend's tombstone, opened 1 can for him and 1 for himself. "You were always too polite with me, never telling me anything. So what if I didn't do well on the exam? I didn't do well either." He reported his scores to him, one by one, in a loud voice. Chinese, math, English, science. Then he laughed. His parents urged Zhou Shun to retake the exam. He refused, shutting himself in, refusing to leave the house, lost in a daze. His father didn't understand. "What are you sulking about? What are you grieving over? Are these the scores you should be getting? Can the dead come back to life? The pain has to pass eventually. Life can't always be smooth sailing. Ups and downs are normal. Life isn't just one opportunity. Zhou Shun echoed his words. Yeah, life isn't just one opportunity. Wouldn't Song Yuza know that? He didn't understand him, yet he understood him. After a moment of silence, his father asked him, "So, do you plan to stay like this forever?" Zhou Shun came back to his senses. "Can you lend me 50,000 yuan? I'll pay you back by this time next year." His father asked, "What are you going to do?" Zhou Shun remained silent. His father sighed and agreed. The night before school started, his first video was officially released. He documented the process of trying to build a robot on his own. The robot's name was Raining, with a cute, flat, round, all-white body. Its function was solar-powered automatic watering. In the video, he kept assembling, kept testing, kept failing, and finally succeeded. He edited it with a sense of rhythm, making it interesting and engaging. At the end, the plants were glossy, a rainbow, faintly visible in the fine water mist, a beautiful and transparent image. The comment section was full of netizens making wishes. The following year, at the same time, Zhou Shun returned 500,000 yuan to his father. His father was surprised. "I'll lend you money not for you to repay me 10 or 100 times over. You didn't even have to pay me back. Just prove yourself." "I'm not trying to prove myself," Zhou Shun said. "Prove what? Prove it to whom?" During his days, he had never thought about proving anything. It was just that, one day that day, he woke up and then said to himself over and over again, "Move forward, just keep moving, don't stop, keep going." Even the most important path isn't the only path. Chapter 16. After lunch, the two walked back together. Cheng Zhuo was preoccupied, silent, all because of Zhou Shun. The boy's experience was unexpected, but it also made everything traceable. At the end of his confession, she had tried to comfort him lightly, to joke about making up for it with me, but the words caught in her throat. She didn't mind whether Zhou Shun wanted to find another kind of redemption through her. On the contrary, she was still grateful. Thanks to him, she had been brought back from the brink. However, her emotions were a jumble. She admired Zhou Shun, and at the same time, envied him. Some people could unleash great potential from a single setback, have a smooth path and a bright future, while her 10-plus years of silent and lightless life had not allowed her to break out of her cocoon, only turning her into a self-righteous moth. Cheng Zhuo stopped downstairs at the dormitory and turned to look at Zhou Shun. "Okay, you can stop here." The boy beside her lowered his eyes. "What's wrong?" Cheng Zhuo raised her eyebrows. "What's wrong?" He saw it clearly. "You're in a bad mood?" He asked again. "Because I talked about the past?" Cheng Zhuo admitted. "Yes and no. To be precise, I'm a little envious of you." The sunlight stung her eyes. "It's not envy either. This wasn't appropriate, especially in front of someone who had lost a close friend. I could have taken a more correct path, instead of living like a joke." However, she couldn't do it. Her willpower dissolved in water, able to stretch and spread only within a group. She couldn't walk a lonely and impoverished road. She needed flowers and applause on both sides. "But I can't. I need immediate feedback from others. Living in the eyes of others, it's like I can't be my true self," Cheng Zhuo said. "You barely pay attention to the comments, but after I took over the public account, I refresh it repeatedly whenever I have free time." Zhou Shun said, "Is that a bad thing?" Cheng Zhuo said, "It's tiring." Zhou Shun was unconcerned. "Everyone gets tired." Cheng Zhuo looked up. "But you seem more relaxed than me, more at ease." Zhou Shun smiled. "There's a very old saying." "Cheng Zhuo what?" "Zhou Shun. You have to work very hard to make it look effortless." Cheng Zhuo nodded in agreement. "You work very hard." The corners of Zhou Shun's lips maintained their curve. "So do you." When he smiled, he always exuded a certain natural closeness and tolerance, and coupled with his height, he was like a good-natured older brother, or a very reliable boyfriend. Although she didn't want to think like this, that's what she imagined. What did she do? Cheng Zhuo slightly averted her gaze and said awkwardly, "I'm going back to work hard now." Zhou Shun said, "Oh." Cheng Zhuo frowned. "Just oh?" Zhou Shun asked. "What else is there to say?" Cheng Zhuo unconsciously put her hands behind her back. Actually, there's nothing else to say. The boy's expression became a little more serious. This is my first time interacting with a girl. Carry me. After saying that, he laughed and coughed. Did he know how unnatural he was? This was Zhou Shun, the Zhou Shun who was like an AI all the time. He came alive in front of her, turning back into a human, a flesh and blood boy. Cheng Zhuo's lips curved into a smile. It's like you're playing a game and need someone to carry you, Zhou Shun said. Isn't the beginning of everything like this? You need to learn. Cheng Zhuo asked. What about your social animal? Did you read it for nothing? It's not very useful, Zhou Shun said. Theory brings cognitive understanding, but practice is another matter. He asked again, what was your previous boyfriend like? Cheng Zhuo thought for a moment. The opposite of you. Zhou Shun raised his eyebrows in surprise. He rarely showed such easily understood emotions, making Cheng Zhuo laugh. She mumbled indistinctly. And you're not my boyfriend, are you? Zhou Shun heard her. Cheng Zhuo's face suddenly flushed. What do you mean, ma'am? Zhou Shun said. You're stating a fact. Cheng Zhuo clenched her hands, exasperated and amused. Yes, so you'd better recognize the facts. Zhou Shun looked at her intently for a moment, recognizing the facts. She had turned him into a fool whose brain couldn't function. Honestly, I'm a little overwhelmed right now. Cheng Zhuo said, Me too. I don't know what to say. Me too. Should I go first? Okay. The sunlight was hot. Their faces were also red, their hearts were pounding, their words incoherent, and the air was thick with sticky syrup. So Zhou Shun ran. After taking a few quick steps away, he stopped, turned back, and called out to Cheng Zhuo. The girl turned around on the steps. As he walked over, she also turned to face him, fully facing him, not just glancing back. Zhou Shun asked, Are we still having dinner together tonight? Cheng Zhuo was stunned for a moment. Okay. Zhou Shun's hands hung at his sides. I'll come and get you. Cheng Zhuo. Okay. Thank you. He looked at her, his gaze heated. Cheng Zhuo laughed. Thank you for what? So polite. I don't know. It wasn't because she had agreed to his invitation, but he couldn't figure out for a while, his mind a mess. When a person truly opens their heart to another person, it is equivalent to handing over their weakness. Now, they both had each other's weakness. Let me think for a moment, he said. I'll tell you on WeChat when I figure it out. Cheng Zhuo replied. Back in her dorm room, Cheng Zhuo's face was still warm. Sitting at her desk, she glanced at herself in the makeup mirror. Her cheeks were flushed as if she had a fever. She pressed her hands against them to cool them down. So Zhou Shun was this cute. Smiling, she took out her phone and found the photo she had taken of him playing games. He really was cute. At the same moment, the cute person's reply arrived as promised. She clicked it open, sat where she was, and couldn't move for a long time, wanting to laugh and cry. He said, Thank you for being alive. Chapter 17. The third time Zhou Shun came looking for Cheng Zhuo. Her roommates sensed something was up. Luan Qing, uncharacteristically sour, clucked her tongue. My. Cheng Zhuo, moving on quickly, aren't we? Cheng Zhuo smiled, saying nothing, tacitly agreeing. Luan Qing said, No wonder you wouldn't give me your contact information back then. This was directed at Zhou Shun. The young man, standing right in front of them, didn't react, simply saying, It wasn't because of that. Luan Qing retorted, Don't try to deny it. You were definitely avoiding any suspicion. Her roommates chimed in agreement. Zhou Shun didn't deny it. Cheng Zhuo glanced at him. How could someone be so sincere, yet indifferent to so many things? He didn't mind being misunderstood, being criticized. She quickly reached a conclusion, because he was completely focused on himself. After they left, the two walked downstairs side by side. Cheng Zhuo said, I shouldn't have given you my class schedule. Zhou Shun replied, You should have given it to me sooner. It makes scheduling work easier. Cheng Zhuo asked, Did you look at the draft on the tablet? Zhou Shun replied, I did. I have class today, so I can talk to you about it in person. After settling on a bench in the shade of a tree, Zhou Shun took out his identical tablet from his backpack, opened the document, and began explaining directly, marking it up. Here and here, swap these sections. The priorities are reversed. Cheng Zhuo nodded. Anything else? Zhou Shun said, No, your writing is getting better and better. He flipped back a page, circling a section with the stylus. This entry point is very interesting. It made me laugh. Cheng Zhuo twitched the corner of her mouth. You're quite the flatterer. Zhou Shun caught her meaning and couldn't help but curve his lips into a smile. Cheng Zhuo recalled the scene in front of the classroom just 15 minutes ago. Actually, when my roommate said I was moving on quickly, I thought about explaining, but in the end I didn't say anything. Zhou Shun asked, Explain what? Cheng Zhuo said, I broke up with that virtual person a while ago, and I'm not together with you yet, so it's not moving on quickly. She sighed. Overall, I still care about what others think of me. I can't escape that framework. Zhou Shun said, But you didn't say anything in the end. Cheng Zhuo said, Because I'm trying to accept negative perceptions, accept my true self. Zhou Shun asked, How does it feel? Cheng Zhuo said, I can't say. It's not good, but it's not bad either. But, her eyes flickered. If the person I'm moving on quickly with is you, anyone would think it's understandable. You're Zhou Shun, after all. Just before class ended, she glanced up and inadvertently saw him outside the window. Zhou Shun, the one who could instantly make her heart race. Seeing him up close now, the effect was the same. She stared at him for too long. He frowned slightly, asking, What's wrong with me? Because they were looking at the same tablet, they were very close, and only then did both of them become aware of it. Cheng Zhuo quickly lowered her eyes, observing the spots of light on her skirt. You're very worth spending time with, Zhou Shun said. I thought you were going to say I'm handsome. Cheng Zhuo was incredulous. You actually need people to compliment your looks? Zhou Shun said, If I were ugly, would you have asked for my WeChat at the lake that day? Cheng Zhuo. All right, fair enough. Thinking about it, Cheng Zhuo felt a pang of fear. What if I hadn't asked for your WeChat? What if I continued to jump in the lake after you left? Zhou Shun said, I wouldn't have left. Really? Were you going to secretly observe from the shore? Rescue me if I really jumped? No, I would have pulled you back. Ow, she asked instinctively. Zhou Shun fell silent. A sudden emptiness made the moment both brief and long. Cheng Zhuo looked at him, a premonition forming. Her chest felt chaotic, as if a rainstorm was brewing, slightly suffocating. Then, the young man next to her abruptly stood up, turned around, and extended his hand. Give me your hand. The corners of her lips lifted uncontrollably. She took his hand without hesitation. With a slight exertion of his fingers and arm, she stood up easily, stood up again. Just like that. As he said this, Zhou Shun was about to let go, but she held on tight. Was that just a demonstration? You think that's just lending a hand? If you pull, please keep pulling, okay? Cheng Zhuo rolled her eyes at him. I still owe you money. I can't walk on my own yet. Zhou Shun chuckled. Dating someone is different. What do you mean? You need me to show him the ropes. She quickly settled into her new role, a fitting and slightly temperamental girlfriend. As they walked together, their palms were both damp. During the Dragon Boat Festival holiday, Cheng Zhuo went home. Her father still lived in the factory. As usual, she made some dishes and went to see him, talking about school. But for the next 2 days, she didn't stay in the empty house. Her new boyfriend, no need for quotation marks anymore, drove to her small town. Watching him expertly set up camp among the weeds and wildflowers, Cheng Zhuo made a new suggestion. You could probably make money doing outdoor live streams. Zhou Shun seriously considered it and planned to add it to his schedule after he turned 40. That starry night, they kissed in the tent. Embracing and kissing Zhou Shun deeply, she could feel his shoulder blades trembling. His body was young and sensitive. So was hers. But they kissed endlessly. Lying sprawled on the grass, Cheng Zhuo stretched out her arms, framing the billions of light years between her fingers. People look small compared to the stars, and the stars look small compared to people, right? Lost in thought, she asked Zhou Shun, Will you always be a video blogger? His answer was always airtight. It depends. Zhou Shun asked her, What about you? I want to go to graduate school. Cheng Zhuo lowered her hands. According to our contract, after 3 more articles, our deal is over. I want to finish as soon as possible so I can focus on studying for the exams. Her meaning was clear. Zhou Shun didn't say anything more. Cheng Zhuo turned towards him. In the darkness, his expression wasn't clear. She plucked a blade of grass from his hair. Are you a little disappointed? Because I won't be working with you anymore. He glanced at her, his eyes clear and bright. No, she leaned closer. Not at all. He looked away, admitting, okay, a little. I want to make choices that make me comfortable. I know. Cheng Zhuo poked his cheek. I learned that from you. As she was pulled down, embraced tightly. What are you doing? She asked breathlessly. Easing my heart discomfort, he replied calmly. They hugged for a long time, so long that they almost thought the other had fallen asleep. Cheng Zhuo finally murmured, as if in a dream. I want to try living entirely for myself. I'll succeed, right? Zhou Shun patted her back, changing to a declarative sentence. You will succeed. That autumn, Cheng Zhuo published her last article as planned and, as agreed, paid off all her debts. The day the contract officially ended, the sky was a clear blue. Walking out of Zhou Shun's studio, she still felt uneasy, so she sent him a message to reassure him. I'm still green, you have to trust me. And her former boss, now boyfriend, calmly offered his congratulations. You could be any color. When changing colors is no longer just for protection, the world is yours for the taking. At the end, there was a parenthesis with 3 cute words, including me. Cheng Zhuo stared at the message, smiling for a long time. She thought, the ending of the story is still unknown, but one thing is certain. She decided to live well every single day of her life.